teams to come to the stage and fight this one out. We've got one Latin American team in the semifinals in the shape of FaZe Clan. Will we get another?
The most crucial player for me is our team, but I want to choose one. It's Novice, because he gets a very potent kills during the rounds and have quick learning of the match. That help us too much. I'm happy with we were unstoppable during our season. We just lose the last match, so this makes me so happy. For EG, I want to wish a good luck, guys, because you all will need it.
As you can see there from that video in the center of Milan, they are here to have some fun, but they are here to win the whole Pro League, and to do it, we bring out our quarterfinalists, Immortals! From Latin America, Immortals! And their opponents, oh, we've been here before and before and before.
We're happy with the Season 9 performance. We made it here. That's the big picture. We had a bumpy road the second half of the season, but we figured it out towards the end. We were still able to qualify for the event. We have so many second place, silver medals in events. It would mean a lot to all of us to finally come out with another gold. It's been a while. I think we definitely deserve it. We put in a lot of work.
We want to be the best. For the last few years we weren't. We were very close. We expect the best from our team.
They will be happy to repeat their season performance as being yet again the #1 seed out of NA, but they don't want to repeat the times that they haven't lifted the trophy. Could this be the one for Evil Geniuses? To the Pro League Finals, Evil Geniuses! It's been such an incredible day already. Amazing quarterfinals between the amazing teams who made it here to Pro League Finals. We give you Immortals against Evil Geniuses for the last semi-final spot. What more could you want? Let's find out. We're on analyst desk. Let's get into this.
Thank you very much, Matt. And what an introduction. You can see how much they've had fun, at least Immortals going through the city. And even EG is Castello Sforzeca, which is a beautiful castle that everybody should be visiting. Also, having a nice bit of gelato. It's a lot of fun here to be in Milan. But the fun has to stop at some point because we really need to get serious about this. EG have so much pressure on their shoulders from the entirety of the North American scene. Now, especially the fact that Dark Zero were not able to defeat Team Empire. At Immortals, they want to prove that they're here to punch up with the best. It's a pretty big story going on here.
I mean, Necrox said it very well. They've been the best at one point. They really want to be the best, but lately they just have not been. And now they're NA's only hope to actually win this event. And just for themselves. They have a lot to prove, not just to fans, but to themselves this event as well.
Riches to rags is the way that I see it. As Necrox said, they've collected their fair share of silver medals. and 1 gold medal, and they're looking to repeat that feat. Well, technically 2, but I'm going to say 1 gold medal because
the one that
not
where
recent times.
where they beat him, it doesn't count.
We're not going to talk about that. Is it?
I think it counts.
Did you guys bet before we started that like how many times can we roast him before we finish the show?
If you guys got out of gold, we'd talk.
There you go. There you go.
I like this. This is getting heated up.
All right.
This
Well,
is a stab at Intero and a silver. Let's go. Let's move.
all right. So, I mean, the storyline here for Evil Geniuses and Immortals. I mean, on the Immortals side of things, I've got to say, to me, of all of the teams that I think a lot of people are labeling for this event to be the ones that you can dismiss, I think that Immortals is by far the most underestimated of all of those teams.
Yeah.
The most recent performance that they had at Six Invitational, yes, they didn't make it out of their group, but you know the 2 opponents that they lost to in their group? One was Team Empire, which they went 6-8, 6-8. That's almost maximum overtime on 2 maps. And the other one was Space Station Gaming, who they took to 3 maps, and then Space Station ended up going and taking the world champions G2 to 3 maps later in the tournament. I've got to say, Immortals have some serious potential at this event.
Yeah, they're extremely underrated, as you mentioned, but also if we go back to Rio, I mean, this is a very solid, stable lineup as well. They give G2 a run for their money in the quarterfinals, and even G2 had to kind of bow down at the end, given the fact that, hey, these guys almost beat us. That's a pretty tough thing to really put out there, but Immortals really have to kind of adapt to EG, especially when they're bringing a roster like this with Necrox, NVK, Canadian, Geo, and Young. And we're all used to Geo being a wise one, but Necrox Amar is always here to bring us some pips of wiseness here and there.
Every single one of these guys is a bit of a legend in the Siege scene.
Oh, yes.
The one thing that's important to mention with Immortals as well is that tournaments are a different beast because you have to show up at every single match. The same goes for EG for that matter. Maybe you can win a Pro League season where you get to play the round robin or you get to play all the teams, but it's so much different when you can get kicked out from one match.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. And I mean, talking about the stakes that we've had so far in the Pro League, in the online phase, as you mentioned, around Robin, you know, best of 1, entirely different beast. You know, we had draws in that Pro League. Immortals was very familiar with that. They found 6 of them during the league. You know, much to their disappointment. You know, they only barely were second to FaZe, but they certainly could have, you know, gone miles above FaZe in the online Pro League if they had actually closed out some of these games.
Yeah, and that's really the problem because at a certain point, if you spend too much time saying, yeah, but it's okay, we got to draw, it's okay, we got to draw, you end up like Space Station where at the end of the season you have 6 draws as well, and you're like, well, what do we do now?
Plus, if you come in here with that mindset and you end up in a so-called draw, that would just be overtime. Yeah. And then you start being worried about, are you going to attack or defense? Because that might actually be the only deciding factor if you win that map or not.
Yeah, and you never want to leave it to a coin toss, that's for sure. Of course, we'll see EG in a Swiss system very, very soon in the upcoming minor. So I'm very excited to see how the different format will play into it. But Oregon will be map number 1 that's picked up by Immortals, so we get to see quite a bit of it. And Coastline for the first time ever. EG, not surprised at all that they picked the map. A lot of buck play potentially to be played on it, even with BC no longer on the squad. There's a Club and Bank, and I think we'll go for Club. Yeah, there we go. Club will be the decider, and Immortals will confirm it at the end. Same thing for EG. A map that's really strong for Evil Geniuses, historically speaking. So I wonder how Immortals will try to play this in terms of operator bans as well, because their coach, Mohammed, is sitting right behind them, and he's looking at everything that they have up their sleeves to play against a team as solid as EG. But we go back to Oregon, gentlemen. How is this going to play out differently? Because we've had a bit of a change, a bit of a twist every single time we've had it so far.
I mean, the problem is if Oregon is the map that good teams go to die, then it's going to be a bit of a mess up between these two because we don't actually know who's supposed to win this one.
Yeah. Well, Immortals with 6 bans. I don't believe they've ever played that. I believe that means that they've never really played Oregon, which is surprising because this is Latin America. And
yeah,
like,
I mean,
okay.
I guess that's the Season 9, but at the Invitational, they played it against Rogue, and they lost, actually.
Okay, I bring that up with Flynn quite a few times, but that series was a struggle.
Different.
It was. I think different is an underrated word in this case. It was a very, very sloppy Joe. So I don't really want to touch too much on that.
Fair enough.
But still, it is a good thing to bring up. It's just PTSD for some people.
Well, I mean, speaking of PTSD, we get to map number 2. We're talking about Evil Geniuses on Coastline. I feel like that's a meme in itself. 2018 Invitational Grand Final, that was where EG lost their World Championship. And most recently at the 6th Invitational 2019, it was also where they lost to Team Reciprocity, which not many people saw coming. I think that Evil Genius picking that map, you say it's expected, but I've got to say there's something about that map and something about Evil Geniuses, and I really have to say Immortals is really gunning it for this game.
It is maybe going to favor EG a bit that we are playing two of the oldest maps in Pro League.
Yep.
And at least with Coastline, we've seen them have a comeback versus G2. They did end up losing it, but there was a second wind. There was some aggressive plays coming out of absolutely nowhere. So maybe they can bring some of that stuff back this time as well.
Yeah, the big question is, will they just look at the Immortals logo, at that hoplite, and say, oh, what's the contrast between that and the G2 Ninja? And they're going to something, oh, it's a hoplite, it's a ninja, are we supposed to be scared? And maybe their minds start racing. You make up all these crazy stories, and that's where you just don't really know where the rabbit hole goes, unfortunately. But we are gearing up to head into the matchup. Oregon map number 1 is best of 3 series. Our final one for the evening. We've had a few shockers, but not a single one has gone to map 3. Do you think this one will, or not really?
I think so, and the main reason for that is that I think that Immortals, as I've said, is grossly underestimated in this series. I wouldn't be surprised if Immortals win the series, but I think if I say that, due to the fact that, you know, if we had a community vote right now, I'm guessing 80% minimum would be in favor of EG. So for the fact that I have a feeling that Immortals is going to impress us, I think that the only way I can justify calling an Immortals victory is over 3 maps.
And Alex?
I just want to give them the benefit of doubt. If you ban a map 6 times and you then go to have it as your first pick, then you better come with something good.
Yeah.
So I'd say they probably win the first map and then 2 goes to EG.
Yeah. I hope that that feeling they're getting that you're talking about, James, that tonight's going to be a good night, because otherwise it'll be a pretty rough one here. At least FaZe Clan are already qualified. But ladies and gentlemen, our final matchup of the evening, Evil Geniuses versus Immortals. It's North America taking on Latin America. Flynn, Stokes, enjoy, boys.
Thank you very much, Gassan. We're back. It's me, it's Stokes. We got a last game in the quarterfinals for our quarterfinal Saturday. It's EG, it's Immortals. We're talking about the maps, talking about how the order breaks down. I'm actually really intrigued by the decider. I'm going to skip map 1 conversation. I'm going to skip map 2 conversation. I'm jumping straight to Clubhouse. Immortals played Clubhouse 7 times in the last 6 months, 2 of which were at the 6th Invitational, and then the other 5 times were during the regular season, in which, during the regular season, they drew 4 out of the 5 times they played Clubhouse in the regular season. At the very least, they can push it the distance. The only difference being is that they drew against some of the weaker competition in Latin America, which gives me cause for concern playing against a team like Evil Geniuses on Club, who have had a notoriously good run at it as of late.
Especially, they only have a round differential of +4, which is not much. Usually on maps where you see teams be somewhat dominant, even with ties, you'll see +10, +20 even sometimes, but not the case for Immortals.
No, and then we look at Coastline, as our map number 2. We're starting on Oregon, then we'll head to Coastline and then round it out with Clubhouse. I know we're going in a bit of a reverse order for you, but Coastline as well, one of the strongest maps and one of the most played maps by Evil Geniuses in the last 6 months as well. A 3-1-2 record on it. And as James decided to point out at the behest of all Evil Geniuses fans around the world, yeah, they lost to it. They lost on it to Rec in the quarterfinals of the 6th Invitational. Will it be their downfall again here in another quarterfinal game? We should also point out that in a Pro League Finals, not a major, not another tournament, but in a Pro League Finals, Evil Geniuses have not made it out of the first round since they won the thing back in Season 3 in Katowice.
That's year 1, Season 3, by the way, guys. For some of you guys that are newer to our Rainbow Six Siege scene, we know you guys have been growing quite a bit, but yeah, it's basically a dinosaur at this point. It's the last time that they won anything, so kind of nightmare fuel there for our Evil Geniuses fans, but as NA always stands strong, we expect nothing less for the boys that bleed blue. Now we will jump in on map number 1, which is going to be Oregon. Oregon +10 here for Evil Geniuses, and they haven't lost on it in quite a while.
No, in the last 6 months, they have not lost on Oregon. They're 3-0-0. One of the biggest wins was against Dark Zero in the second half of the season. It was the decider game when they were both deadlocked at 20 points apiece in the standings, and EG tore away. They won that game 7-4 against Dark Zero on Oregon, and that's clearly where some of the round differential comes from. Oregon, a strong map. The thing with Oregon today, however, is that it's been extremely one-sided, which is not the traditional path for Oregon. As of late, through all three major regions in Pro League, they've been very, very close games on Oregon, or they've been complete blowouts. It's never been a one-sided half, and then you kind of fizzle out towards the end like we've seen twice now today. It's usually either a 7-0, a 7-1, or you're going the distance, 7-5 or a 6-6 draw as the regular season allows for draws. There are no draws here, though. We have overtime, and it's a best-of-3 overtime. No infinite overtime, though. It's not a major.
So there is a couple comparable things between EG and Immortals. First of all, being their last loss for Pro League was both on week 14. EG losing to EXG 7-5, and then Immortals losing to FaZe 7-5, both on week 14 once again. Also, they both have a star fragger on their team, Geo, respectively for EG, and Navis for Immortals.
Yeah, and different stakes on the line for those last two games. So that last game right there was a seeding game, and potentially we didn't know quite yet. We did know at that point that it was going to be a seeding match, but still a seeding match to who gets the number 1, the number 2 seed between FaZe and Immortals. Obviously, FaZe came out on top. They were the number 1 seed. They just defeated the Stream, the number 2 seed coming out of EU. For EG, though, they knew they had their ticket punched a week beforehand. So their game against EXG, not a whole lot on the line. They were first seed guaranteed. They didn't have to stress. We've done enough stalling. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Oregon. It's map number 1 between Evil Geniuses, the number 1 seed, the constant powerhouse in North America, and Immortals, the team that held the number 1 seed in Latin America until the bitter end when FaZe finally overtook them with a 7-0 run to round out the season. It's two powerhouses. It's our last quarterfinal of the day. It's map number 1. We're getting underway.
Immortals going to be starting on the defense. Thatcher going to be banned out, which we've seen become more prominent here, especially with the likes of Kaid now on the Rainbow roster. With his Electro Claws able to seal up hatches, and Thatcher does a damn good job of getting rid of those. So we don't want him on the board if we're starting on defense.
Next attacking ban going to be coming out. And that's Evil Geniuses taking away the availability of Capitao. So there's been a lot of discussion already, just through 3 games on social media and other outlets, of this new Capitao change.
He's good.
He's very strong.
You only need one eye, apparently, to be that ridiculous.
Well,
hey, what do you know? That's somebody you want to get rid of if Thatcher's taken off the board, because Kaid can completely seal those hatches, and the only person that can get them open is going to be Maverick. You don't want to lean on that too heavily.
Have to worry about the mute play as well. And the last defender going to be banned out will be Mira. Not a big shock here, but this does leave the availability for both Echo and Maestro yet again in an Oregon game. And that's going to be a little bit worrisome for Immortals. They've proven in the past that they are the team that definitely, out of all the Latin American teams that love to ban Echo, they love to ban Echo the most. And having Echo available, especially with Geo having some experience on Echo on the pass on the defensive side, same thing with Necrox, they can go back and forth on that role. It could cause a lot of headaches for Immortals when they get to their attacking side, but they'll be starting on the defense. Evil Geniuses will be starting on the attack. We got a pretty standard roster here, but the other thing that we do have available is Nomad, something we haven't seen in the last 2 Oregon games.
Yeah, Nomad is a massive choice as soon as Canadian switches off of him. We're going Shields first here. We're going Montang. But Nomad, once again, a big choice for Oregon because there's only one way to rotate from the basement. So you lock down meeting, you really don't have to worry about it. All you hear is that air jab, pop, go off, knock the guy on the floor, make a quick rotate, you got yourself a free kill. Another thing that's very prominent is that echo play that Flynn was talking about earlier, but we also have his denial brother. We have Maestro in the ranks as well, and Maestro and Echo, especially put together, is a hell of a concoction.
And we were talking about, we were actually talking about this before we came down here, just about an hour ago while we were watching the FaZe and the Stream game and doing some last-minute prep work. Canadian leading all of North America in opening deaths.
Yikes. That's,
I mean, put a shield in front of him and maybe he won't die first. Smile.
That might be the play, honestly. But again, this is Canadian on land, and we've seen this man on land before. A lot of those stats, well, actually all of those stats that we looked at upstairs were all online. Canadian is a completely different beast, a yelling, hyper hockey playing beast on land. So we'll see if that will rear its ugly head.
Well, you still have MVK bringing the Maverick because of the availability of Mute. With Thatcher banned out, you're still going to have some problems with dealing with that information denial and hatch denial from the Mute jammers, especially with their verticality. So NVK will start by droning out towards Kids by the big window, but there's no roaming presence towards Kids or top floor at all. It's all over towards the tower side and by Attic. A little bit of pressure coming up the main laundry stairs as well, but it appeared to be Bullet, and he'll retreat back into the objective downstairs. You have a 3-man hold downstairs and this 2-man tower hold. Clearly anticipating it. Okay, Geo.
Hi, Geo. Okay.
Maybe your keybinds aren't set up quite right just yet, but there goes a frag grenade, and that'll be sent by the wayside and just wasted, ultimately.
Well, at least you didn't kill yourself. That's a good thing. At least you didn't cook it. That would have been very, very bad. But in a traditional sense of Oregon, there's only 2 ways to take this map. Either you start big tower or you start small tower. You drone across and you pinch towards the center. Some people call it mid, some people call it lobby, but it's all the same. It's the middle of the map. Canadian going to have a staring contest with the likes of Navis. He's staring him down inside of meeting. But it seems to be that Immortals is holding down big tower. So it's going to be the next area that Evil Geniuses needs to conquer.
A lot of pre-fire sent in from NVK towards the back of Attic and towards T2, and that's where M-King, as the Maestro's playing on the back tower stairs. No shots will connect, and honestly, it's Evil Geniuses looking worse for wear in the majority of these engagements. Now Canadian will press down the stairs. He's going to come to blows with the smoke and Mute, the shotgun tandem, and now he's isolated by the Toxic Babe. Goes close quarters, but can't land the melee. He'll be saved from above as PX will fall, and there goes the smoke. Canadian will continue to trudge on forward as the Mute Jammer's still stalling out the hatch as NVK continues to work away at it. You've got 2 Nitro Cells being ripped out, 1 botched and placed on the ceiling, and a second one inside a laundry in the back pocket of Navi's.
And you know Canadians just got to be laughing at him for that one as it's going to connect to the ceiling, but Cyber will finally find NVK. That will be the Maverick down. Necrox trying to refrag, but nothing's going to come of it. That is the danger, though, of this shielded operator, Montang, as he can apply constant pressure. You really can't do anything about it unless you got something explosive to take care of him. But Necrox and Young looking worse for wear right now, as you said earlier, as they're trying to get this diffuser down.
Finally, that stationary Nitro Cell placed on the top of the roof will be taken care of, dispatched of by Young, but he's on very low HP. Canadian carrying the diffuser now will make it in behind the laundry bins. We'll have to worry about an Evil Eye spotting him out in a rotation through laundry. Oh no, as he's pulling out a frag grenade. Navis will rip right through and drop down Geo. Young on the immediate trade though onto Navis as they try to rush right through onto the plant. Young again, bearing in hand, bullet will fall, and now it's Cyber and M-King last alive. Necrox still holding from inside of laundry as both remaining Immortals defenders try to bust out of meeting. There goes Young on 5 HP, removed out of play, but there goes Necrox as well, removing Cyber on an immediate trade again. It's M-King pushing his way down the laundry hallway. He has a Montaigne to go up against, and Necrox on low HP. There's not a lot here for M-King to do, unless he can close the gap without being sniped from above by Necrox. He will close the gap up against Canadian, but as long as he stays full shielded, there's nothing really for M-King to do to bash the shield away and then be able to shoot immediately. This would take a tandem of teammates trying to accomplish this goal, and Canadian will unshield. Oh no! Canadian gets the shield bashed out of his hands, but he's running low on time, and now M-King will have to dart into the diffuser. He's completely run out of time. He'll get a fruitless kill in the process, but Evil Geniuses, and M-King knows it, will take the first round.
You got to give him one thing, though. Those mechanics, so good, man. At 180 there to get that last kill, but again, fruitless, as you said. Only thing there is, you know, Canadian giving everybody just a little bit of a scare with that unshielding. I mean, Troy, you really didn't have to do anything. You just had to stand there and look pretty. You still allowed him to kill you, but it's fine. You weren't the opening death this time. Played your way down the stairs, got that diffuser down, and that was the big part. Montang is such a time waste, and especially in those 1vx situations for the defender, Montang is almost unbeatable.
You can see the Nitro Cells as well that went out from Navi's. It did a little bit of damage to Canadian, but the shield doing a lot of effect in stalling that out and denying any possible lethality with the explosive at range. Young as well playing the bottom of the main stairs. Incredible stalwart at the base of the main stairs, and Young has been one of the best performers for Evil Geniuses on LAN in his entire career. Not surprised to see him pick up the pace here in round number 1. And yes, Canadian getting his shield bashed away by the melee from M-King, but there was no time. And that was really the difference maker on that round, was Canadian was able to waste so much time and draw the ire of so many defenders as that walking mountain, that impervious obstacle that Immortals had to try and overcome, and they really didn't have the utility to do it once PX died. He got caught out very dangerously by the bottom of main stairs. He tried to close the gap on Canadian, but the cover from main stairs satisfactory, and it does the job, and Evil Geniuses just kept rolling from there.
I think that's a perfect round to preface with. Kills don't matter. They don't. If you get that diffuser down, you're able to delay a lot of time, just like Canadian did right there. That's all you have to do. Play the objective. They're more important than those frags. I know we all love them. Navi's loves them. I mean, he's got the 3rd most kills in LATAM. He's got 143 kills for the regular season. He's only second to Nesk and Psycho. Psycho being the best player in the world currently, statistically speaking, through Pro League. So, I mean, definitely no shortage in kills on that team.
Nope, and we're going to see an identical lineup once again coming out from Evil Geniuses as they look to move in through the west side once again to the east side. It's a replication for Immortals downstairs in the basement as opposed to trying to flip the switch and head to the top side. Canadian on a different entry this time, though, as he's heading in towards the west side with the rest of the team. I'm curious if Evil Geniuses have identified that this is going to be the strat from Immortals, because this is what they would run in Pro League as well, which is this tower hold. You have a 2-tiered system inside of tower, on the tower stairs, up inside of T2, and outside of that, there's not a lot of pressure. You still reinforce meeting to keep it as a beachhead to push through later on, but outside of that, Immortals don't control a lot of meeting until they have to try and retake.
Well, things have switched up quite a bit for Evil Geniuses since acquiring Gotcha as their head coach, so I would go out on a limb and say yes, they know exactly what's going on because they have had such a turn for the better since picking him up, and that was all the way back in last October. It feels like it was yesterday, you know, getting to see him at USN playing and everything else. Incredible player, incredible coach. He's definitely whipped these Evil Genius boys into shape.
Well, once again, Canadian will come face to face with a shotgun, staring him down the barrel, but obviously he's got the full shield, and now NVK from up above as the Maverick looking down through the bottom of the hatch, unable to spot out the legs of Bullet, who's going to continue to take this engagement. Nitrocell ripped as just a bait, and ooh, Cyber almost gets his head taken off with the troubles as he tries to clear out any of the pressure from the top of Armory Stairs. So here comes Canadian once again, clearing out utility and constantly drawing the ire of those members of Immortals who were stacked up below the hatch. A lot of focus on trying to deny the hatch, and Cyber tries to go for a very, very long jog through Highway Connector, and he'll die to a Claymore on the immediate vault in. So nothing to worry about there for Evil Geniuses in the back. You still have smoke grenades, 2 of them, as a matter of fact, for Canadian. And speaking of smoke grenades, one will repel him further up the stairs. You still have plenty of time here for Evil Geniuses. It looks like it's going to be a replication of the first round.
That is the bad thing about a tower hold, is it all levies on the fact of if the offense wants to deal with you or not. Especially with Orican, you can just isolate them, set Claymores on both windows, and you go, okay, you either have to come across meeting, or you run across, hop in a window, and meet an explosive end. And that's exactly what's going to happen to Cyber, as Evil Geniuses is the one behind the steering wheel right now, and it doesn't seem like they're going to take their foot off the gas.
Well, time management and pacing here for PX has been great, as Canadian will now try and go in for the plant once again at the base of the stairs, but he's got to move on as Necrox has dropped the hatch. Geo will take down Bullet inside a laundry, one rotating down the main hall as well. Necrox will chew him to pieces. PX, though, point blank, 2 in a row. Young and Necrox both fall. The plant's still going down now from Canadian, and NVK collects a kill onto M-King. So now PX on 5 HP trying to bust out a laundry, full shielding himself at the base of the stairs as Canadian once again being that human meat shield, and shotgun point blank NVK on the flank from behind. 3 on the round for him, and Evil Geniuses a convincing back-to-back duo of rounds.
The kills don't have to be flashy, they just have to be there, and NVK collects 3 of them on that round. Looks like basement is going to be, yet again, another very easy thing for Evil Geniuses to handle, and they're looking really good right now. I don't want to call it too early for the EG guys out there, but right now, coming out pretty hot.
It's been a valiant start so far, and yeah, this is the rotate I was talking about, trying to go through. Trying to go in through Highway.
You poor thing, Cyber. You poor thing.
You tried, honey. He tried. And honestly, for Immortals here, I don't think the basement defense is really working out. Like you said, this tower hold for them is being straight ignored by Evil Geniuses. When it comes down to the site execute, there's been really good pacing. You know, I commented on it as well with PX with his pacing of those smoke canisters. Really well timed. We're talking about more than a minute remaining, and PX had all 3 smoke canisters, but he used his first one at just before the minute mark. Obviously, you can pace that out, but the smokes only last for 10 seconds. So you got to kill 10 seconds with the smoke and kill 10 seconds of your own before you can throw another one and repeat the process. It was good timing there. Just the rest of this team started falling around him, and a beautiful flank from NVK in the back picks up 2 at the end.
I think something especially that is just Oregon in general is the fact that you can completely outright ignore roamers unless they are being highly aggressive. I mean, let's compare play here. Compare Immortals to what Empire was doing earlier in the day on Oregon. Joystick was an absolute madman throughout this entire map, hopping windows, doing everything you could possibly do to find someone to put lead into. And it worked. But Oregon is not a game that you can play passive roam. You have to be aggressive. You have to take those aggressive gunfights, and playing tower is not going to do that for you because there's only really one safe way across, because there is no way in hell that you can make it across highway without getting marked even with a 3-speed. So it's kind of a bad comparison for Immortals. You know, they have to try and find another way to make this roam game work.
Well, they decided to head upstairs and abandon this tower defense that they've been hard set on the basement defense. So now they'll turn their attention towards the top side, and this will initiate a role change. Canadian from Montaigne to Ash. Not something you see every day, but...
that's Canadian, though.
That is Canadian in a nutshell. Very versatile player. Loves to play, again, the carousel of operators that I mentioned in the Dark Zero and Empire game. And again, Cyber playing with fire here on the knife's edge, but he will be able to evade to safety. And same thing with Navi's as he tries to rip back up the white stairs, and he'll make it into safety inside of the objective. NVK almost having a lot of success there with this M4, connecting on multiple targets intended, but couldn't land the shots on either target.
On the coattails, as they say, but Bullet's going to be able to rotate out of kitchen to safety, and that's probably for his best bet, because right now, Evil Geniuses is taking over this entire west side of the building. Best bet for Immortals, wasting as much time as possible and trying to keep people alive. That's been their biggest deal so far, is they keep trying to push back against Evil Geniuses' take, but it's been falling apart for them. And unlike Ash fashion, Canadian's still all the way in spawn droning. So, as he will start rotating over towards the building, start doing things with that R4C. Gio's going to start opening up the top of white stairs and establishing some angles over into white bunk.
You got to worry about any pressure coming back down through those kill holes that he's made, as he had 2 stacked inside a generator, one of them being PX with a shotgun. And looks like Gio has figured out his keybinds now as he's able to cook these frag grenades, but no, it'll detonate prematurely, and it will not connect on a PX who's still playing inside of generator and busting out now. Unfortunate timing from Necrox as he just turned his attention away, but there goes Necrox, the IQ dispatched of, and now you have to worry about the play downstairs, but Cyber taken care of. Bullet and another one now, going for 3! Bullet lands them all, and that's NVK to fall. It's just Canadian and Young left alive for Evil Geniuses.
Bullet so very dangerous on this Legion. Nitro's not going to come out. It's going to connect with Canadian, but it's not going to be lethal. But I can tell you what is. Bullet, that's a 4K. That's going to be on to Young. Can he collect the ace? All he's got to do is breathe on this Ash, and Bullet all the way for the first round for Immortals on Oregon.
That's the ace for Bullet. Beautiful play from him on the Legion. I mean, extremely aggressive play to run out the big window. Nonetheless, there was limited time remaining, no diffuser control. Canadian was 5 HP. Even if he died there, who cares? The rest of the round still would have been won for Immortals. So, excellent risk there taken, risk analysis, I guess, for a Bullet. And hey, gives you a nice flashy play in the clip feed, but you're still down around here. And the biggest focus of all for Immortals should be getting the win. And I imagine this is just going to be a straight replay of all of Bullet's kills. We saw the one against Necrox. This is the one we missed against Young. And of course, we witnessed this one as well. Outside of big window, Bullet going huge for Immortals, and suddenly Immortals seem to have life again, as Bullet was playing downstairs for the most part, and they are going to be back downstairs in the basement as their defense, of course, as they're not going to elect to go to tower or kitchen dining. So they got to find a way to make this roam game work, and it seems like Canadian is reading into this. He's not going to go for the Montaigne that has been so effective at wasting so much utility on the side of Immortals. Instead, he's going to go for the Jackal.
Yeah, Jackal very, very good at keeping roam game in check. Having that constant ping on you is not a fun time. So, going to allocate that utility towards the offense, but we're not going to have Montaigne to where we can almost guarantee a plant if they have control of the front lobby. Now, biggest deal here is Immortals going to make an adjustment on this rear tower hold? Because if they don't, I don't really see this round going in their favor. Oh, it is. Yes, they're actually going to be holding down kitchen and completely across. This looks like a more or less of a fallback strategy. So they hold down kitchen. They notice the Evil Geniuses takes from the west side. They're going to allow that to happen, but eventually fall back deeper and deeper, eventually reaching site, but wasting a lot of time in the process.
NVK connects onto M King with the M4, able to drop about 30 HP off of him on the rotate through that nice little peak angle at the bottom of the tower door. So the Maestro will take a little bit of damage, and Necroc's doing some work on some basic default electronics. But now, Evil Geniuses, reading the rotation coming out from Immortals, have gone for a rotation of their own, taking into tower the now real estate that has been vacated by the Latin American team. Now you've got them trapped inside a meeting with nowhere to go, condensing upon them from both kitchen and tower.
This is all about smart droning, getting those early drones set up. You already know where the site is. You already know where the site is. Get those drones set up, get that information on where you want to take from, and it'll probably pay out in dividends as they are going to be focused on Big Tower once again where nobody is.
So now MVK pushing into the back towers. They've almost cleared out in the entirety of meeting and the main floor. You still got pressure coming in from these Jackal pings from the member downstairs, and MVK, for some reason, is not using the blowtorch to get rid of this Evil Eye. I guess wary of any pressure coming in from the main lobby, or he's waiting for Geo to come get it. Instead, well, he provides the cover, but nonetheless, a lot of utility available, and there goes Evil Geniuses, one of the members anyway. It sounded like Geo taking out one of the Evil Eyes at the availability of M King. After those first two bullets rattled off in the beginning from that peak, not a lot has happened. A frag grenade will be sent out now from Geo to collect inside of Harry Potter. There goes Cyber again, the Ella this time, and Cyber just cannot find much success in this game, honestly. And Bullet, the only member who's been doing a whole lot for Immortals, will continue his run of success against Geo, hitting the deck immediately in fear, as now he'll have to back off, prepping the highway window, but he won't engage with that. He needs to retreat to the site as there's only 45 seconds left, and the execute will be coming from Evil Geniuses.
Canadian motioning down rear tower stairs, and he could come up massive here. PX on the other side, shotgun lying in wait. Pre-fire is going to come out, but it's not going to make any connection. PX will throw a smoke grenade at the wall and have it pass through. Now those holes are made. He's going to be smoking off as Necrox will go down to said smoke. Bullet will lose his life as well. Only 20 seconds left here for the offense to do anything. PX will fall. Canadian sees one, but no bullets will make any connection. Young's gonna find yet another one. He's been doing so well so far. He's gonna catch a couple bullets in the side. Canadian's getting aggressive, but Navi's gonna win it. Young, though, gonna catch a round. That's 3 for him on round number 4.
It's 3 for Young, it's 3 for Evil Geniuses, and the Hibana, again, the fast dead player for Evil Geniuses, the man that has been a top performer on land for the North American powerhouse, continues to perform and show up in big moments. Evil Geniuses now 2/3 of the way through their possible attacking rounds, lest we go overtime, and taking yet again a bit of a commanding lead. This has been a story so far today on Oregon, and that was the peak there from Bullet all the way up by satellite window, but elsewhere inside of meeting was able to collect a second. This roam defense so far from Immortals is Bullet. Can Bullet connect? Can Bullet evade the drones? Because if not, the rest of Immortals right now are not showing up, and this has been, like I said, the story in every Oregon game so far is the first half turns into a landslide, and neither team so far that's been put at that massive disadvantage has been able to claw it back and push to overtime.
I believe that you would agree with this. A 1.0 KPR, or kills per round, is massive inside of the game of Rainbow Six Siege. Right.
Yeah.
Well, our man Bullet over here is currently at a 2.3 with quick maths. So, when you're averaging 2.3 kills per round and you can't find any more rounds than 1 so far, you got to look at your teammates and at least try and lean back on site. Your site players have to be doing a little bit better, because right now it's not working out for them. The only round that they've won, once again, is the ace by Bullet.
Well, it comes to the structure and it comes to the rest of the team being able to trade. Right now, and this is an aggressive peak, Navis will collect as Necrox will fall. The IQ to perish on a spicy garage peak there from Navis. That's another member from Immortals that really needs to get engaged here for the team. But all of Immortals so far in this game playing very individualistic, not working together as a team. You see Evil Geniuses constantly in perfect range for trades, and they're always getting those trades. They're trading back immediately. Immortals, that's not the case. Everyone's off on their own little mission, and when that mission fails, no one is within range to try and trade that back and facilitate the rest of their intended plan. The good news is, though, for Immortals is that now we've taken out the IQ and we've swapped to an Echo. So Immortals in the basement defense worried more about a site execute as Canadian has gone back to the Montaigne, but this is actually MKing inside of meeting. That's a precarious spot to be in. We'll see if he can evacuate through the hallway hatch.
Oh, he's not even trying. He's sitting there. He's waiting. Gonna try and get himself a frag possibly, but I don't see this going his way exactly with Montaigne on the field, able to just literally walk at him, and he can do literally nothing. A literal crapload of roamers right now for Immortals. They are absolutely everywhere. It's like spiders right now. We got people in Split, we got people in Kids, we've got people on main stairs. So Evil Geniuses gonna have the answer to that. They only have half the round left to try and get something going on.
Well, they've got meeting progress once again. They've got the control, and like you said, very spread out defense right now for Immortals on the defensive side. You've lost your IQ, which is not the most influential, but like I said, those Echo drones could be a massive nuisance later on. NVK still holding for rotates, as it appears that Evil Geniuses are all stacking for the rest of a tower push, as they took a little bit of a detour through Attic towards Armory, but now Young will again pick up the diffuser and head downstairs, and will he be tasked with being able to clutch up with a 3K with the bearing 9, or will Canadian be pushing through? He's right underneath a Yokai drone. Will it blast him away and move his shield? Oh, he's able to spot it out. There goes one, but as he ADSs for it, Navi's peeks the corner, gets his second of the round, and now aiming in, it's going to be the rest of Evil Geniuses that have to pick up the slack as they've lost their removable shield. More Yokai disorienting shots come down, but NVK will collect onto the flank of Bullet. There's one more flanker topside, leaving it as a 2v3 on the objective. NVK continues to put bodies in the grave on the flanks for Immortals. There's only 20 seconds left, though, for the site execute.
He cannot lose these gunfights right now, all except for Navi's been showing up these last couple of rounds. Only 15 seconds left. They've got to make magic happen. It's all left up to Geo and a very, very hurt Young. Frag grenade going to go out. Finally, Young will meet his maker, but Geo will find Navi's. Been doing so very well so far, and he's going to collect PX. It's all left up to MKing and Geo for the respective teams, and MKing will bring it in home for Immortals.
That was a 4K on the round for Navi's, almost getting the ace, but MKing just had to tag in for a little bit of an assist at the end. Again, it's superstar individual performance that seems to be the dictation of whether or not Immortals can win a round. And you really don't want that to be the case, but at least they're sharing the wealth right now. It was Bullet to start things off with that ace. It's a 4K now from Navi's. We've had MKing have a couple big moments as well. Whenever the team,
oh man,
nice shot there from NVK as he saw the punch hole up against that left wall, and the second one comes diving in. Cyber also. It's again this roam right now from Immortals that is just not working out. Evil Genius is picking that apart. Whether they have the Jackal, whether they have the Nomad, they haven't even brought a Nomad yet. They've only flexed to bring it and then 6 picked off. They will actually bring a Nomad finally in the last attacking round, unless we go into overtime. And that's NVK bringing it as well, who's been dismantling the roam from Immortals like it's nothing. The good news is for Immortals as well is that you haven't had to go to a weird site yet, because you've been losing your defenses pretty handedly. And the ones you do when you're at least available, they're not back-to-back. You can go back to a different site that is advantageous to yourself as well, as they just win their basement defense, and now they'll head upstairs to try and level things at 3 at the half, which, honestly, after the way this game started with 2 very convincing rounds for Evil Geniuses, would be a good response heading into the half.
It truly would be. Just to look ahead a little bit, Evil Geniuses having trouble in that last round with the roam game, and our next map is a map that favors that heavily. So they more than likely want to get this figured out now. How do they counter that? Because right now, Evil Geniuses stalling quite a bit initially until they figure out what they want to do. Last time, tried to commit down big tower stairs, didn't work out for him too well. And sadly, NVK tried his best to clear across meeting, but eventually lost his life as well. They tried to lean on Geo, which, I mean, who wouldn't? The guy has the highest KD inside of North America to 1.49, but didn't really work out for him.
Incredible aggression being put on display here from Immortals, and it's just not working out. They sacrifice both Cyber and MKing for the life of NVK. Nathan Valenti will gladly sit on the sidelines as Geo again dismantling Navi's, and it's all going downhill for Immortals. They try to stack the tower, they try to vault out of the tower, they try to explode out of the tower and refuse Evil Genius's entry, but instead, it results in pure pandemonium and extreme loss on the side of the Brazilians. So now the North American squad of Evil Geniuses in the driver's seat with almost 2 minutes remaining.
I respect Immortals trying to stay with their playstyle, that extremely aggressive playstyle that has worked out so well for them. But we have one of those inside of NA now. It's going to be a wreck, and EG has been playing against them all season long. So they're used to this kind of playstyle now, at least in a comparable sense. So, as we are on round number 6 here, Immortals very, very damaged.
Yeah, Gia now busting into the showers hallway. Still at the midway point in the round, and it's all EG in this one. It would be a remarkable shock if Immortals were able to take this one back, but they're playing in some rather odd positions as my voice decides to hit an octave I haven't heard in 10 years. You've got Canadians spraying in through the back of the mattress, and unable to collect any of the shots onto PX. Still standing at 100 HP will be the smoke that rotates all the way into the hallway. Pings come out from the drones. He's going to continue to back off as the intel unlimited for Evil Geniuses as they try to descend down. That's a run out. PX is going to take down Canadian off the window rappel and dart all the way back in, but now he's been downed off. At the bottom of White Stairs, Geo pushing up, just missing the timing on him, but Young will finally collect the down PX. At the top of White Stairs, Bullet twisting in a 1v3 will have to be the saving grace for Immortals, so this is going to be a 4-2 at the split. Still has to worry about Geo coming up his White Stairs in behind him, and now Bullet angling in. He hears the barbed wire rattling, but cannot connect, and Young on a pixel angle from highway window will be able to collect that kill.
Evil Geniuses looking so very good on that offensive half there. I think the biggest deal for them is slow and steady wins the race. Nothing too crazy, nothing too quick, but Immortals tried that and it didn't work out for them too well, especially on that last round. Feels like they're throwing everything but the kitchen sink out the windows, and EG was ready for it, to say the least. Now we will be going to the rotation parameter here. So we will have EG on defense and Immortals on offense.
Swapping sides, 4-2 at the half, and again, attempted vault there from Cyber, and Cyber was trying to make a lot of big plays. You saw him get caught this shot from Geo as well. But Cyber, honestly, he's been trying to make a lot of big plays, a lot of flashy plays, a lot of, honestly, astronomical plays on just the amount of risk that's involved and the amount of reward that could come back. And he hasn't been able to pull them off, not in any instance. And that's really been detrimental to Immortals. There's this three-headed monster, really, of Bullet, Cyber, and Navi's on Immortals. When that trio is rolling, God help you. But when one starts to trail off a little bit, the others have to pick up the slack. And we've seen that from Bullet, we've seen that from Navi's, but it's not enough. Evil Geniuses are too strong of a team to not be on point right now for Cyber. So switching to the attacking side, I imagine we really are going to see Cyber calm it down a little bit. Try and play a little bit safer and stay alive and help the rest of the team, because when he is alive, he's an invaluable tool to the Immortals attack.
Well, you say that, but the man is on Ash, and we've seen a lot of crazy things, especially when they do have that R4C in hand now, because you don't have the cog to play those long-distance gunfights. You're going to see some very aggressive play styles here by the Ashes now that use the R4C. So, once again, Evil Genius is going to be on the defense, and actually a very, very crazy thing that I do want to point out is Bullet had an ace, but he doesn't have the most kills in the game right now. It's actually Young. Young has the most kills. He has 8 of them. That is the beauty of a good support. The man isn't very flashy. He isn't very clean, but you can weigh on him when you need to.
That's the thing. He's been one of the top performing members of Evil Geniuses at almost every LAN that Evil Geniuses have partaken in. You've got a Claymore inside of the drone hole coming out of Kitchen, as the drone will also utilize that drone hole for some information. That was Cyber on the Ash looking to press in against Canadian, the Jaeger. I wonder how long Canadian will stick on the Jaegers. He's gone for a rotation all the way up towards the attic. He's busting open the highway. There we go. Now he's in the attic. He's heading right towards that rotate hole and then peeled off. Obviously on the Maverick as well. We'll try to start to work away at this main lobby hatch as they try to push down. It is a basement defense after all. You got to work towards that front lobby push, as Immortals seemingly not attempting to go for a back push here. And we've been seeing a lot of tower takes today, not just in this game on Oregon, but on a majority of the Oregon rounds so far today. And that's going to be a lot of shots taken up through the hatch, through those Mav holes from NVK. But mimicking a little bit of the style that we were seeing earlier on from Evil Geniuses, Immortals will also be taking a Montaigne.
Montaigne, once again, you can literally just apply pressure. That's it. You can literally just stand there and stare at people, and pressure is applied. That's all you have to do. Don't have to re-click your button, put your shield back up. You have to do anything at all. Maybe toss some smoke grenades, get that diffuser down. That's more than likely going to be the plan for Immortals. It worked earlier for Evil Geniuses. We'll see if it works out for the boys in Aqua Green, as execution should start going down any minute here. They're trying to burn the ADSs so they can get smokes deeper into sight, and that's going to allow them to see deeper as well. If somebody breaks that smoke barrier, Immortals is going to have the upper hand.
We got to worry about this bulletproof camera in the back of the laundry closet, and this is obviously a mimic of what a mirror could be. But mirror obviously banned out, so you have the availability to see through smokes. Canadian's going to get overhealed and go for the vault, and there's no Claymore. Oh, you got shots coming up through the floorboards, but they won't land on a Canadian, so you have to be worried about a flank from the back. You got smokes coming in, and I'm sure there's a member of Evil Geniuses trying to call for Young as he tries to smoke out. The plant going down right on his wall, but Navi's will fall. Smoke right up against his wall now on the reinforcement. He's got to push down. A Nitro Cell takes down 2, and now pushing down on the flank. Bullet will fall. It's all Cyber alone. It's just an onslaught of kills through the wall. Cyber, a beautiful reactionary shot, but 2 seconds left on the board. There's no time. NVK shuts it down. Evil Geniuses extending the commanding lead they already had in their possession. It's a 5-2 lead on Oregon, looking to walk this thing home.
Okay, I can say it now.
What?
This is the best Evil Geniuses I've seen on land in quite a while. The 6 Invitational, they looked pretty good, but they still had quite a few slip-ups. I feel like there were still some communication errors. This Evil Geniuses right here, making smart adjustments, not giving up their lives too early, especially on defense. They had a very, very troublesome run with that at SI, especially against Reciprocity. They were getting picked off so early on their defensive sets. This time around, it's not the case.
That's a very fair point to make. Evil Geniuses looking in commanding lead right now in the driver's seat, and it shows. NVK now on that round has taken over control of the lead for kills in the lobby right now at 9. So we're having a bit of a back and forth contest as far as who's going to be leading the kills. But in the meantime, Immortals are going to take a tack timeout, and that's obviously needed right about now. One more round on the side of EG, and it's match point on map number 1. We've seen a lot of Oregons already today. This is our 3rd Oregon map we've seen today out of 7 maps now. And they've all gone very one-sided so far.
Yes, they have. Canadian get a hand over the reins of Jaeger. Sir, turn in your 416 and your very nice plain hat, and MVK is going to put that on and see if he can continue to rock these kills. Canadian realizing now that he kind of just wants to play utility and play that as well as he can. Currently it's sitting at 2 and 6. MVK with the hot hand. You want to give him the best gun you can. That's what they're going to do. So we'll see if they can continue down this reign. It's Young, NVK, and Geo for the top fraggers. 9, 8, and 7 respectively to all of those players.
So obviously, first round of the defense, it's a downstairs defense for Evil Geniuses. They win. Where do we go? We go upstairs. That's Oregon.
Oh, you don't say.
That's kind of how she goes, yep.
Very peculiar, yes. Never would have guessed. Probably would have lost that bet.
So we are wrapping up the tack timeout now. We're getting back into the game, and Geo will be playing on the castle. And like you said, a swapping up for NVK and Canadian. It'll be Canadian now on the mute. NVK rethinking his ADSs about where he wanted to place that in between the windows. That is a very common spot. Also, no frag grenades being brought by Immortals, and with the Capitao banned out, if Necrox were to play as the smoke that is typical inside of kids in between those windows, he wouldn't really have a lot to worry about. There's not really any lethality at range here.
The only real thing he's going to save is if Cyber tries to establish a new line of sight with one of those breaching charges, or if M-King, for some odd reason, is going to try and go through a window, which should not happen. And if it does, I'm going to be at a loss for words. But you'd more than likely see him toss some smoke grenades. We're in La La Land talking about this right now, because you're not going to see a Montang repel and try and swing a window. It's not going to happen.
I would hope not. So it really comes down to where these Evil Eyes are going to be placed. This is pretty typical on top of the bunk bed frame. It is a metal frame, so you don't have to worry about that. The other one, I guess, could be faced inside of Generator towards Gen Wall. It's actually all the way up by the Armory window, by Satellite window. So you've got visibility towards the Armory stairs and the rest of the Armory hallway, and then in. So you've got actually a lack of visibility right now in towards Generator. In the meantime, NVK is taking about 25 damage in the process of either prep phase or an aggressive angle towards the beginning of the round. You've got some X-Kairos coming out from PX now. He's got the assimilation of Immortal members coming in from the west side over to the east as they look to clear out any roamers playing down inside of Kitchen. The real question will be if Immortals want to use the rest of those X-Kairos to push in towards a master take, or if we're going to be seeing more Kids Windows takes as we've been seeing all day long.
Traditionally with this site, you are going to start on big tower, but Immortals isn't exactly a regular team. They're going to go small tower and try and take across. We said earlier, not more than likely going to see M-King try and hop a window because you have to lower your shield to do so. People can shoot you in your feet. And granted, yes, you are a 3 armor, but bullets still hurt. Quite a lot, actually. And you don't exactly want your Montang on very low health, especially with Necrox on smoke.
It doesn't seem like Evil Geniuses are really panicking at all at the presence of M-King at the big window. Obviously a giant target to shoot at and dump utility at, but yet Evil Geniuses not really in any distress right now. The drone's coming in, and it looks like this might actually be the entirety of the strategy, is just vault in through big window. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, as you've got Navi's taking a lot of damage on the big window repel as well, down to just a hair above 50. This is stalling out here rather swiftly for Immortals. Not a lot of progress. 5 members alive on the other side as there's 60 seconds remaining. I'm just waiting for M-King to drop the shield and go turning in through the big window.
I really don't have the answer there for you, Flynn, but I can tell you that we're under a minute left, and it's 5v5 still, which, traditionally speaking, as we heard earlier from our good friend Intero, usually turns into a hell in a cell match, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Gio's going to start things off as Bullet will go down. Everyone's going to have to try and just jump through the window as it's all orange in the kill feed. Finally, PX will answer back, but Canadian will find him. It's all left up to Cyber coming up the main stairs, and I don't think he's got an answer for this. We'll see exactly what he can answer with. Flick's going out, but I don't think he's going to have too much to answer with. That R4C by his side, has to whip out the pistol. He's going to find Young. Can he possibly find Canadian playing inside of Kids? Oh my God, he's going to. It's all left up to Gio. Cyber, the absolute prophet, but no, Gio finally will find him and shut him down. Very scary round there for Evil Geniuses as it almost slipped away.
Cyber, again, like I said,
does Cyber things. I mean, that's the only way to really put it. My God, man.
Cyber, a very useful member for Immortals when alive. The problem is that the rest of his team decided to bail in through the big window, and that didn't work. It didn't work.
They died a lot.
A for effort, but it didn't exactly work. And that's kind of where the lacking of strategy seemingly is coming from across the board for Immortals. In this game, it seems like the strategy for the entirety of Immortals has been who's going to be our solo player, who's going to dominate at every turn in a solo aspect. It's not a team game right now for Immortals, and that's rather surprising considering the cohesion they typically have during the online season. And all 14 playdays that we witnessed for them, they looked really cohesive. They looked like they were working together as one unit. In this specific match, in this specific map, right now, they look lost and they look like they're not working together as a team. It looks like everyone is trying to make an all-star play. And then you finally have pieces come together to try and build a framework of a strategy as a team there, and the strategy ends up being jump into the big window.
You're at a Pro League final, and
it just seems like there should be more development to it throughout the rest of the map. We talk about map control a lot, and they didn't really have a lot of it there. Clearly a downside to the strategy, as Evil Geniuses had everything except for the site surrounding the big window, and that was it.
Especially on a map you picked. How do you not know how to attack Kids properly? You know, speaking of the devil, I mean, we talked about it earlier. You don't want to take from small tower. It's just not that good of an idea. You can't really establish lines of sight. You really only got big window, and you can try and take it down on white, which they got that line of sight established, but really just didn't work out for them because Evil Geniuses just gave them no line.
I mean, that's one reaction. Navi's going to set an air jab out on the big tower window. That's at a T2 just to make sure that nobody's going to go for a vault, but Cyber's made it all the way into the objective inside of T1. And NVK will set him to rest immediately. Another one for Young now as it's just a full send for Immortals into the objective, and Young cuts them down one by one. Every single bolt in the magazine connecting onto a head of a member of Immortals. And now it's Bullet and PX to work out of this. The Finka boost coming in well late of the intended timing. PX will have to rotate over with diffuser in hand. You still haven't cleared out Kids as there's pressure from the back. And now, peeking up and over the edge of the window cell, and PX taking shots from this backside, but still not reacting to it. This is a troublesome scenario for Immortals to work out of as they've seemingly surrendered Oregon in its entirety. One Echo drone will be surrendered in the process of trying to disorient Bullet and take away the availability of the blast of the Finka to overheal, but at this point, Immortals, they don't have an entry into the building.
Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, but Jack fell down. Immortals rocking a hard place right now. I mean, especially on that round where we saw Cyber try and just full sim with the Ash, claimed a lot of lives, but didn't end up winning that round. Now we need that ×2. We need Bullet and PX to find some sort of cohesion to work together to find either 5 people or get this diffuser down. As they do just twist in the wind currently and the timer continues to tick down, I mean, that's really why you don't want to just try for the full send, especially when you've already done it so many times. Evil Geniuses knows what you're going to try and do in that instance. Try and play it out a little bit longer, try and play it out a little bit longer, try and get some more information in your pocket and do something with it.
At the moment, it looks like Immortals don't have an answer, and they have yet to make it inside the building after that initial incursion into the objective. Gio's punching open the garage rear door to try and take aim in towards PX or Bullet repelled on these windows in the big tower, but no one really able to connect. This is an aggressive run out here from NVK, but he's on 5 HP, so he really does have the availability to sacrifice himself should he want to go for an over-aggressive run towards the backside. There's very limited time remaining, and PX still can't land a bullet onto NVK, playing the peek angle at the bottom of the tower's door. Now laying prone underneath the T3 window on the north side is Canadian, just waiting, but Necrox will hit the run anyway. There goes Bullet, repelling it in absolute desperation. PX shut down. Evil Geniuses take map number 1.
And in excellent fashion. I mean, they really just let Immortals play their game and they knew exactly how to counter it. Okay, you guys want to be aggressive? That's perfectly fine. We brought exactly what we want to deal with that. 7-2 the scoreline here on Oregon. We're going to be going into Coast, and it seems that EG currently has Immortals' number.
That was a dominant performance, yet it's another Oregon game that's incredibly one-sided, and it's the North American powerhouse that take map number 1 against the second Latin American seed. The team that almost went undefeated until week 14. Again, Immortals did not lose a map until week 14, and now they've lost back-to-back maps in official matches. They lost in week 14 to FaZe, and now they've lost Oregon 7-2 at the hands of Evil Geniuses. So rolling in, we're looking towards map number 2, which will be Coastline, and should we need it, Clubhouse will be the decider. At this point, we have many questions about whether or not we're going to get to a map 3 based on that performance, but we also said that about Oregon games where our first map was incredibly close. 8-7, 8-6 on the first maps on Bank, and then we head into an Oregon game that really doesn't tell the full story. I'm not really surprised. I wouldn't at all be surprised to see this head to a Clubhouse eventually, but in that game, Immortals definitely need to take this time to reboot, recoup, and sort themselves out. But in the meantime, to figure out what went wrong in that game for Immortals and what went right for Evil Geniuses, we throw it to the desk with Kassan and the boys.
Thank you very much, Rob and Sam. So what a bit of a sweep of a game, gentlemen. We came into this seeing, okay, EG have a lot of pressure. Immortals really need to show themselves to crack the top. But EG were just at the helm this entire run. It seems like not only EG had baked their bread, but they had it. This is black Russian bread, gluten-free, and the whole shebang. They had it all coming.
I mean, if they keep playing like that, then welcome back, EG.
Yeah, and on the other side of it, I'm really disappointed with Immortals.
Yeah.
There were a lot of moments where I could have seen a lot more from Immortals, a lot of kind of what are you doing moments, whether it was little oversights or just more overall macro things. The thing that I was a bit confused about from Immortals was the way that they were bringing their Montaigne, but it didn't look like they had an idea in mind for where they actually wanted to push with the Monty. Yeah. It was more like, look, we know we want a Monty because it gives us a little bit more assurance on our entries. We don't, we can gather information more safely. But on that second last round, you're doing a Dorms take. What are you going to do? You chuck your Monty at big window where he has to unextend his shield, go through a vault animation, and then he's in a crossfire. It was rookie mistakes, and I want to know, where is the shot calling from Immortals?
Yeah, and the strategy didn't really seem to be that clear in their heads. Even their tower takes were kind of very slow.
I mean, sure, at side swap we're at 4-2, and it's rough going into that, but literally every attack round was on the back of Cyper. If he didn't clutch it out, they didn't have a chance. And leaving your guy that gets all the frags to be the last one alive with no one there to help him, that's a rough spot.
Yeah, let's put those that round counter actually up on the board, and it's a recap. You can see it was extremely one-sided. I mean, EG had had the Immortals numbers in the first half, 4 rounds on the defense, which you're like, okay, you look at it, okay. Immortals took 2 rounds on the attack. Sure, very swayed for the defense, but there's still a way to get back into this. It's not super uncommon to have this. It's just maybe you get off on the wrong foot. Then you go to the other side, and EG on the attack just kind of plow on through, and it was really weird to watch this.
I think the second they got done to attack, something went really wrong with Immortals, especially communication-wise. I think at some point they swapped around some operators and people that weren't supposed to play those. Well, we both noticed the air jab in the middle of the wall. I don't know what went on there.
They were expecting somebody to run out from tower.
Well, the big problem is putting an air jab at that height does nothing.
An air jab doesn't hit it. That's very true.
Like an air jab only works once you're on the ground. It doesn't work mid-air. It doesn't work mid-vault, any of that.
Yep.
So as a pro player, anywhere, you should know not to put an air jab up there. That's such an oversight and something that just shouldn't happen.
So there were macro mistakes in terms of the shot calling, and there were seriously, individual player mistakes. The Nomad player simply not understanding that mechanic of the game, something you're expected to know when you're playing at a Pro League Finals event. So a bit of a question mark there. For me, it was a really big contrast between Evil Geniuses when they brought the Monty, when they had an idea of a strategy. It was clear in their heads. There were the shots were being called, and they had a consistent idea of how the push was to form as a team. When Immortals won their defensive rounds, one was on the back of a Bullet 4K. I mean, that doesn't tell you a ton.
It's really Bullet at the helm at this point.
And the other one was, a clutch from Cyber or something? So I'm not seeing from Immortals something that actually looks like a functioning team. I'm seeing some strong individual plays where you roll the dice and see how it goes.
And that's the difference of playstyles and regions. They're not really used as much as other teams to international play. But we have one more map to go to. Maybe we'll go to the third one. Maybe Coastline, map 2 between these two teams, is the one that we're looking to. And we actually have statistics about this. 4 times banned by Immortals, 100% win rate for them. 1 time banned by EG with a 60% win rate on it. Of course, all these stats are throughout Season 9 in the online phase. They do not include anything offline, and they don't include BR6 for Immortals. They don't include Invitational for both of these teams.
Don't include any best of 3s either. This is all a best of 1 with no overtime situation, and we've seen how I think that the fact that we do have overtime, that favors Evil Geniuses. We talked about Immortals. They like their draws in the Pro League. Evil Geniuses are a team known for being able to soldier on and go for those comebacks and play in those long matches with overtime, so that's going to favor them.
So that's one of the strengths of EG, but that's when it comes to later on in the map. We talk about basics on Coastline. EG have it really nailed down. Can you walk us through a bit of those, Alex?
Well, I mean, they got their pedal on, or their foot on the pedal right now, and I think they're going to keep the aggression up. We saw MDK, he's let fully loose now. He gets the freedom that he deserves, because when he has that freedom, he performs well. He's slayed every single Roma he's met, and that allows Canadian to take a little bit of a step back and be the actual leader and have some coordination there, right?
I got to say, what have they been feeding Young in the last few months as well? Because he's, Young is a support player. Right? Yeah, he used to play like a Blackbeard, a more passive role, but that's still kind of semi-supportive. These days, playing Hibana, a very typical support operator, because, the hard breach, you can't let him entry because you lose the utility. But when it comes down to clutch situations, such as we saw in one of the rounds on the basement attack, Young was making those impact frags, whether it was covering his teammates or refragging them. He was the difference maker.
It's that sloth mentality. Everything slows down around you. And he was wearing that T-shirt that they got him, actually, from the team, and it looks hilarious, I have to say. Well, that's EG, but Immortals side, how do they recoup from this? How do they try to come back? Coastline is not a great map for Latin America in general, specifically for Immortals as well, and EG are pretty darn good at it.
Honestly, coming into that, you better just chalk that energy drink and then take a breath, forget about that previous game, and then get right into this one.
Knuckle down with your coach. Get an idea of who's calling the shots, and make sure that the player who is in charge of calling the shots has a clear level head, and that if there's too much pressure being placed on them in terms of fragging, just let them play more passively, because someone needs to make some consistent calls on the Immortals side.
Yeah, we'll see how that conversation goes between Immortals and their coach, Muhammad, but that's for later. Gentlemen, I think our theory crafting is at an end, potentially the final map of the evening. Thanks again to everybody that is still here at the arena. It's 10:30 p.m. p.m., yet still a full house, well, half full house, I guess. With that said, Coastline will be coming right up. Immortals versus Evil Geniuses. All the way back to you, Flynn and Stokes.
Thank you very much, Gassan. Thank you, everybody on the desk. Beautiful analyst. As always, I love you guys. We're ready. It's Coastline. It's map number 2. It's Evil Geniuses. A commanding map number 1 victory on Oregon 7-2. We roll into Coastline. One of the most played maps for Evil Geniuses. And if you look outside of the 6th Invitational, then Evil Geniuses have had a nearly flawless run on Coastline as of late in the last 6 months. I will note as well the 2 Immortals victories that they have in the regular season on Coastline coming against 2 of the worst teams in Latin America, Pain Gaming and Red Devils, if I'm not mistaken. Those were the teams that finished 8th and 7th respectively in Latin America. Take the results of Immortals going undefeated on Coastline in the regular season through only 2 games with a heavy grain of salt, especially considering the entirety region of Latin America does not play Coastline. It was one of the most banned maps of the entire season in Season 9. It's been a map that has been avoided like the plague inside of Latin America. It will be up to Immortals to be able to transfer their regional play into international play on a map like this versus a team like Evil Geniuses that have played a crap ton of Coastline, won a crap ton of games on it, and they're looking to put the final nail in the coffin for Immortals.
Yeah, but as stated earlier, Coastline kind of a soft spot for Evil Geniuses in certain aspects. I mean, this is the map where they lost to G2, then Penta at 6 Invitational 2018, where Pengu had that nice 2K there right at the tail end of that round to have them hoist the trophy after being down 2 maps to 0. So, again, that was a long time ago, and the last time that EG made it out of quarters was a long time ago, so we'll see if they can find success here. Will they be able to finally break the mold?
Well, it'll be up to the next 2 maps to decide that for Immortals. And honestly, if you're an Immortals fan out there, you've already seen your Latin American counterparts in FaZe Clan make it into the semifinals tomorrow. Immortals gonna have to win 2 maps in a row, something that has not been done, we haven't seen a map 3 yet all day, and you're gonna have to lose the first map, then win back-to-back, something we haven't seen all day if you're an Immortals fan, to make it into the semifinals and knock all of North America out. That would be all of North America going out in quarters yet again. I don't know how many times we've said that before in a Pro League final, but it's happened quite a few times.
As a resident NAer, I really, really hate to see
it. Oh, it stings.
I really hate to say this, but as is tradition at this point, we just can't make it past quarters, man. We just can't. So we'll see if they're able to break the mold once again and make it past quarters, or will IMT join their brethren of LATAM in the semifinals tomorrow.
I think the last North American team to make it out of a quarterfinals in a Pro League final was Rogue in Atlantic City. So just about a year ago to the day.
Didn't Rec make it to semis at SI? Because they
semis, yeah, not at a Pro League final.
Okay, all right. Yeah. I respect it. I respect it. Okay. I will say one thing, though, as we are delving now into Coastline. We are in the action phase here, but we're going to have a ban of Thatcher once again, which on Coastline is a little weird because you do not need hard destruction for this map at all. And as you see with Evil Geniuses, they didn't bring any hard destruction. Not only that, but there's no Thatcher on the field, so why would you in the first place?
And as far as the Valkyrie, like, it could just be a pick of comfort for weaponry. We see a lot of Valkyrie being played on those fraggers inside of Latin America, and yet the Valkyrie being banned out has clearly been a displacement. We saw that in the FaZe stream game as well. Latin America are having its Valkyrie banned against it, but it's M-King to take down Geo to start things off. Geo as well on the Montaigne? That's peculiar, but it still doesn't work regardless. And Canadian will trade it out onto Bullet, though. So this will be the replay in your top right of the screen and just trying to bust open the barricade. Poor timing there. Good advantageous angle there. And NVK will also fall in the process as we're busy watching a replay.
Hopefully lesson learned. That's not something you do with Montaigne. Do not lower that shield for anything. Have somebody shoot the barricade open for you. Do something along those lines. You do not want to try and show face because everyone wants to kill you. You are a massive presence on the map. This time around, it's going to work out for Immortals. Immediate refrag, though, but MVK will also fall.
Got to be worried about Navi's right now. The pole's still playing inside of service, and Canadian was holding the angle from kitchen window, but as he evacuates, that'll allow Navi's to rotate over into kitchen. You got a lot of pressure from these hookah windows. Upside down rappel now is Canadian, and the run out coming out from Navi's, but he won't be successful. Canadian shuts that down in its tracks, and we level at man count once again. Slight health advantage on the side of Immortals, and honestly a lot more utility on the side of Immortals remaining. And for this site execute, I imagine this is going to be a rotate from Evil Geniuses over to Aquarium, as is typical on this site, but they might just try and barrage their way in through the hookah doorway.
It is a possibility. It seems like that is the answer for Young. He does still have one concussion on hand as well as 2 impacts, so can definitely make a lot of noise coming in through hookah, but Canadian will finally meet his demise as PX will rip his head off for him. That's going to put body count in favor of Immortals. Not too much time left, but Diffuser will start going down. We have to see some sort of aggression, and that's what you need if you're an EG fan. Necrox gonna take down PX. As everything seems to be going down as Cyber will claim the life of Necrox. It's all left up to Young in a post-plant situation. M-King not very much help, but Cyber gonna have absolutely none. It's Young, it's M-King. They both have practically 1 health. 1 bullet'll do it! And it's gonna be Young once again. They were talking about him on the analyst desk. We talked about him last game. He's been showing up here at Season 9 Finals.
Everybody talks about Evil Geniuses. Everybody talks about this roster. Everybody talks about everyone except for Young. Give him the respect.
Put some respect.
Man has deserved over the years. Continues to show out. Geo, again, going to be initially picking the Montaigne. We're going to get some replays from that round here. And this is the last time that Geo played Montaigne. He received a bullet to the face. So we'll see if that's a 6 pick or not. I imagine that's going to be a 6 pick. Of all players on Evil Geniuses, I probably wouldn't put Geo on a shield, but he's going to stick it. Necrox is going to 6 pick over to the Ash. Interesting use of a 6 pick, but whatever, we move on. It's actually interesting that the player that's most known for playing shields on Evil Geniuses is Young.
Yeah.
And yet they're not using him on a shield. It's quite the conundrum that is being brought out here from Evil Geniuses, and their Montaigne play seems to be a heavy focus, something we haven't seen from them all season.
I feel like if you had to make EG a loadout, like people were guns, people were knives, everyone else on that roster is a gun. You know, they're pretty reliable, they do their job, but there's one thing that never breaks, and that's a knife, and that is Young. The man can do it all. I mean, playing Zofia, play Habana, play whatever you give the man, and he will show you consistency. And that has been Young since he started playing this game. I mean, look at the likes of Geo on their team. Highest KD in North America once again, 1.49. Second highest overall rating to 1.23. Only second to Hyper at a 1.29. And yet you have Young showing out for Evil Geniuses.
This is what he does on land, man. Young sits in the background, and honestly, he does his role to a T. He doesn't need to be any more than that, because like everyone on the analyst desk said, he is typically a support player. And yet when it comes to land, man, the man is unleashed. Alex talked about NVK being let loose and let off the leash to go and have his way with what he wanted to do on Oregon. That's Young on Coastline now. He doesn't have to play a breacher. He doesn't have to play Hibana. He can play whatever he wants right now in a flex position. And I fear for Immortals, they need to start isolating someone like Young and someone like NVK right now. That double-headed sword right now is actually terrifying for Immortals to stare down the gun right now.
Well, I think the main thing for Immortals is how did you not have any vision at all on that plant going down? Even a sound cue would have helped you out right there, allowing you to know that you can get aggressive, try and stop that man from putting the bomb down. But nothing happened. They got aggressive too late, and it just did not end up working out for them. Young, once again, with a very, very nice clutch. We're actually going to have a very weird stack of Bullet and M-King here on Cool Vibes Stairs.
It's a bit of a ceased engagement right now as no one's really taking aim in towards another. They're standing at a stalemate, holding the opposite angle for a rotation for each other. Nobody's really making that first move right now, making that aggressive push. And now Geo, taking your advice seemingly through the ethos, will not be opening up that barricade himself as a melee. And oh look, M-King goes for the pre-fire, but he's got his shield fully deployed. So better utilization of that shield, and now Frag Grenade will be sent down towards the top of the Cool Vibe stairs. It appears to have done a little bit of damage to Bullet. Actually, that was M-King who would have been closest, so not doing any damage at all. Is possibly an ADS still stationed on those Cool Vibes and intact.
This is going to be a slow take for Evil Geniuses once again, and this is exactly what we saw from them in Oregon. They allowed Immortals to get aggressive, make the play that played into the hands of Evil Geniuses, get those free frags. That's exactly what they did the entire last map, and this is going to be no different. Smoke grenades of all different varieties going to be going down on the hookah door now, as Geo is just going to continue to eat these bullets.
That yellow toxic gas will be choking out Geo, but he doesn't actually take any damage for it. He's got to be more concerned about the lesion mines that sounded like they deployed right at the base of his stairs. Oh, Necrox, as he was just about to flank up the Cool Vibe stairs. Cyber will cut him down from behind. And now NVK has to go for the rotation over towards Sunrise, but Navi's on the run out now as well. Onto Canadian. NVK will trade one back as he pushes up Cool Vibes. Another one in his grasp, but can't find the final blow. Now he's got fire from multiple angles. Geo will press forth and try and take him down. In behind him, it's a complete calamity. And Immortals will take it out in an absolute circus act at the end of that round.
All you saw was blue there and the latter half of that kill feed, and that's all that matters. Immortals going to get all the frags they need for round number 2, and we're tied up once again 1-1. Bad thing is, we saw this the last time around on Oregon. Things went back and forth initially. 2 rounds immediately claimed by Evil Geniuses, then Immortals found their first round. So very close, and it teeter-tottered back and forth for the entire defensive side for Immortals. So we'll see if that happens once again. Here, we're going to be going towards Kitchen Service, which is a regular site here. The one that is the outlier is Penthouse, which you don't see a lot of teams play due to the fact that the entire actual Penthouse area is practically no man's land. If you try and sit in there, you die. You do not want to be in that area at all. But we're going to be holding down on Kitchen, which means we're more than likely going to be seeing roamers upstairs holding those vertical angles.
I'm really at a loss for why Geo is continuing to play the shield. Like I said, Young would be most known on the Evil Geniuses roster for playing a shield. Canadian was doing it on Oregon. And like you said, Geo leads the team in KD through the regular season. The most amount of kills on the team through the regular season.
By a lot, by the way. It's like 50.
He would be invaluable with a gun in his hand, at least an automatic one, and without a shield in front of his face. And yet, the plan here for Evil Geniuses through the onset is we're going to stick him on Montaigne. And it seems like Geo just isn't quite as adept at playing the Montaigne as other members of his team. It seems like a very weird choice right now, is I guess the best I can go for. Navi's going to go for a spawn peek out towards Ruin Spawn, and NVK going to evade that quite cleanly, honestly. Read it like a book, and we'll back off to safety, and we'll continue to drone it out just to be sure. But we'll continue to focus in on this Geo play with the Montaigne. See if it has any more success than it's had in the last couple rounds. It hasn't done a whole lot for me right now on EG.
I can tell you a couple things, though, about LATAM teams in general. There's 2 things. One, they're extremely aggressive. No matter where they are. It can be 2v5. You're going to see aggression out of that last 2 alive remaining for a LATAM team. Secondly, very emotional teams. If they're playing well, they are unstoppable. But if they have any damage done to them along the way, it's very hard for them to fight back. Right now, 1-1. If you're an Immortal fan out there, you want to see them make the run now. Evil Geniuses, though, still going to be on this offensive half for quite a while. Still have 4 rounds to play through before that swap.
So the attack shaping up here for Evil Geniuses as they identify VIP balcony, try and push in through VIP, and it's, I don't know how many times we've said this today, but it's free real estate. Go on in and have yourself a ball, Evil Geniuses, as they'll have that top control, and Canadian on the sledge will begin to ripping up the floorboards, and he saw a member right below his sledgehammer on a camera, but hey, that's M-King going to be able to evacuate into the safety of Kitchen, at least safety momentarily. Navi is still playing on that dock. He's playing in towards the Lamborghini doorway desk, and NVK, again, will identify this on the Twitch drone. Not rocking the Elite, so it's a little easier to see, but he does have pressure also from Sunrise and Blue Bar. Widespread horizontal roam right now for Immortals, and somehow NVK's, there we go. NVK's Twitch drone was lasting a little bit longer than expected there, but he'll come into the engagement, and he's going to have an Echo drone to contend with as well, as M-King will join the fight in terms of utility, disorient NVK, and he'll back off to safety. There's a minute left, and Evil Geniuses have done a good job of at least terrorizing the members inside of the kitchen, but they haven't done a good job of actually killing anyone off or doing any damage.
As you said, practically a roamer in every crux that you can fit him in downstairs. And Evil Geniuses is going to have to try and read into that, because if not, someone's going to get off a very important flank. Right now, it's looking like Cyber will be the one to do the damage. Necrox could get aggressive on the back of Kitchen, but more than likely that's going to get met with something. Navi's, though, will find NVK on the other side of the map, and EG continues to twist in the wind.
Shots up to the floor, and Navi's with 2 on the round now, going huge on the dock. It's the press in from Geo, though. He makes it into Kitchen's service, but Cyber will attack on, taking down Necrox. It's just Young and Geo left alive and trying to push through with the diffuser, disoriented by the Yokai, and he'll have to back off while taking damage. Navi's going for 3. He'll collect onto Young instead of Geo. M-King will round it out with the MP5 SD. It's Immortals to bounce back now. This, again, the strategy from Evil Geniuses, a little questionable. I do like the response, though, from Immortals. They were trying to take those initial fights upstairs very early on, and it was working about 50-50, but they're realizing that, like you noted earlier on, that Evil Geniuses are sitting back a little bit. They're sitting back on their heels, waiting for Immortals to pounce, waiting for them to spring forward and take those aggressive stances very early on in the round, like we saw with the Navi's run out from Kitchen on that pulse. Canadian read that beautifully. Same thing with that initial spawn peak. NVK read that beautifully in this round as the Twitch at the Ruin spawn from the Aquarium balcony. This time around, Immortals start to reel it back in a little bit. They still take their shots when they can, but they're much more poised in their decision-making on their shots, and they're much better timed, honestly. Much better backbone behind their push as well. Much better distance between each other as well for a possibility of a trade.
Well, if you're Evil Geniuses, the ball is now in your court to make an adjustment. You see that Immortals has read into exactly what's going on, and granted, it did take them a little while, took them a full map and a couple of rounds in Coastline, but they finally figured out the formula to try and battle back against Evil Geniuses. Now, once again, ball in their court, they're going to have to try and make an adjustment in order to fix this problem. It might be aggression, it might be that, but Evil Geniuses, of all teams, that we haven't seen them really have that hyper-aggressive playstyle against a lot of teams. I mean, we've seen it against like the likes of G2, but we really haven't seen it against anyone else. I would say the only other team I've seen them get that super aggressive playstyle against is Reciprocity.
It's fair, and we've seen how those games have gone in the past, with Reciprocity currently leading that season series, or I guess lifetime series, with the current iterations of each roster. Necrox still playing the Ashe, and hasn't had as much impact on the Ashe as he was having on Oregon as the IQ on the attacking side. Clearly just a different mindset here on the roles, and finally Gio will be swapped off. He's no longer bringing that Montaigne. He's now swapped over to a Glads, where I imagine he'll be much better suited to perform, and this is honestly a change that I think should have come a little bit quicker from Evil Geniuses, and now Navi's will get droned out at the top of the theater stairs, but he's able to bail out just in time as that F2 raining terror through that wall almost connected under the head of a vaulting Navi's towards the base of the stairwell. The Twitch drone will come out from NVK to try and track him down a little bit longer, but he evades capture for the moment on the side of Evil Geniuses, and for Evil Geniuses, slow push here. Geo still in spawn droning. This is taking a minute to shape up for a blue bar, sunrise bar push. Typically, you'd have a little more top control by now.
They actually have control of the entire upstairs. They just don't know it yet. Everyone's downstairs for Immortals. They're just more or less playing an entire blanket roam. Everyone is in every room just like we saw them the last time around, but last time it was kitchen. This time it's double bar. Bullet currently inside of offices. Navi's over in security. Cyber's docking him up currently, but we don't have a single body set up for EG downstairs.
So you can see the floorboards getting ripped up now by Canadian as the Sledge will make his way into Billiards and fashion himself a rotate into Hookah. This hatch being left unreinforced now will be a prime target for Canadian to take advantage of. The drone's coming downstairs, but yet again, Immortals simping a little bit of their strategy from last round, where they play the full set horizontal rather than a vertical roam, and they're not really taking those fights early on. You saw Navi's early on trying to take that engagement up the top of the theater stairs, where we see a spray of blood, but hey, Cyber's got the dock, juicing back up to 100. No casualties there, and NVK actually comes away worse for wear there. You've just utilized a lot of your utility. That's what it's there for.
Well, the biggest thing right now for Evil Geniuses is they just need to put some weight on their entry fraggers. Actually entry frag. You guys have control. You just have to get your opening frags. You have to make them make a mistake, because Immortals is basically playing your game. They're just waiting for you to do something. And Young will be the first one to do so, but only 25 seconds left on the clock when he got that frag. They're going to try and just full send it right through into Sunrise Bar. Navi's will claim a life. Things are starting to go down here with Evil Geniuses and Immortals. Diffuser will be one of those things. Canadian will take down Navi's. Young hasn't started the Diffuser just yet. Plenty of Toxic Babes still left, and Cyber will find Young. That's going to be Diffuser down, and that's Evil Geniuses walking away with it. It looked like Immortals was going to run, but no. Evil Geniuses with a 25-second execution will win the round.
And I mean that round, Young just doing circles. He's doing donuts in the middle of barbed wire, choking on smoke. No idea where to go, no idea where to plan. It seemed like it was pandemonium in the communications for Evil Geniuses in that round. That was a very discombobulated attack in towards the objective. I mean, it worked out, and a beautiful shot there from Young really sets the tone early. But again, like you said, Evil Genius has taken way too long. Seems like Immortals have started to learn what they're up against here as far as the patience from Evil Geniuses. And there needs to be a counteractive measure now from Evil Geniuses to try and set the tone a little bit earlier. Take the fight to Immortals, because right now they're not getting any progress on any of their attacks right now. They're waiting into the dire seconds, and they're waiting for Immortals to make that crucial mistake in the end. And there wasn't even a crucial mistake made there by Immortals at the end. It just came down to pure trade potential in the objective. And Evil Geniuses came out on top just narrowly.
Well, again, it goes back to Evil Geniuses and just not putting any weight on their entry fraggers. I mean, they have some of the best fraggers inside of North America, and they're not doing anything with them. I mean, the biggest thing for Immortals right now is, as you said, they play a heavy horizontal hold. That means there's only one person per room, which means you get a one-on-one. Worst case scenario, you play for refrag. And Evil Geniuses is not currently doing that. They're getting punished at every step of the way. That last round just not going in Immortals' favor.
Well, back to a hookah defense we go. And Geo now continuing to revolve around operators and not really find a home just yet. Everyone else on Evil Geniuses sticking with the mainstay operators that they've been rocking since round number 1. But as we enter round number 5, Geo now plays his third different operator of the day, hopping over to a Capitao, which wasn't banned out this time around. And we've been talking about the strength of Capitao. That's eluded our minds for at least one map on Oregon and the first map of this best of 3. But for the other 6 maps of the day, it was a pretty big focus for a lot of teams. It was the strength of the new Capitao bolts, their ability to drop from elevated surfaces on impact, and honestly, it's been a hard set conversation on Twitter as well. It's been fun to read through those tweets.
Cybers and Navis are actually locked in a constant battle over here with Canadian and also his partner, but Canadian will finally fall to the hands of Cyber. It's going to be all left up to Geo and Young over on this side. Actually, Necrox is going to be over inside of the hallway. Playing inside of VIP, he's going to down Navis, finally claiming the life of him. It's going to be all up to Cyber over here in 90 hallway to try and find any more progress. Either that, or he can show face and try and waste as much time as possible. But again, Latam, I'm going to expect the aggression. That's exactly what we're going to see as he full sprints in. But NVK and Necrox got an answer for that, and it's going to be body count in favor of Evil Geniuses.
It's going to come down to the anchors of M-King and PX. And we talk about picking up the pace, and there's a beautiful example of that from Evil Geniuses as they want to take the lead once again and continue to run away with it. And speaking of, the F2 ripping right through M-King, connect with a headshot as NVK. Now PX alone in a 1v4. Vaults over the bar, makes his way into Aquarium as Evil Geniuses have no control here just yet, but they can honestly take the other objective with absolute ease, and NVK will do just that, pushing his way into the rotate, into Hookah, dropping PX, and it is a landslide round for Evil Geniuses as they ramp up the pace, and they start digging another nail into another portion of this coffin that they're fashioning for the last remaining Latin American representative.
You might see a tactical timeout here by one of these teams, but I don't think this is a smart time for Immortals to take their tactical timeout. If anything, you might see EG take one, but that's not going to be the case as we are going to be jumping into round number 6 here. Immortals wants to hold on to that tactical timeout as long as possible. That could come up massive on their offensive set, because right now, things are looking a little bit dire for them here on this defense. It feels like EG has made the adjustment that they needed to. They put MBK in a position to just try and frag out of his mind, and that's exactly what he did. Every single one of his kills in that last round was a headshot. You can call the man a guillotine. He's ripping him off. I mean, come on.
He's also got the F2, one of the most powerful weapons in the entire game. So, hard not to see why NVK is performing, and I think Alex put it beautifully earlier on. He's been let off the leash. He was in more of a flank hold position for the longest time, and that was his role. And a lot of people looked at just the kills for NVK and said, you know what, this isn't the old NVK. This isn't what he used to do. Well, it's a different role. He's still executing the role to a T. He's still flank holding beautifully. The rest of the team wasn't really performing on the entry. They put Nate back towards a fragging position, and look, they've let him off the leash. He's no longer hard stuck on Thatcher, holding an angle from outside of White Van in Oregon, for example. He was still flanking a little bit as the Maverick on Oregon, but he was able to jump into the engagement and jump into the fray and get involved in the action a lot more. And once that blood gets flowing, it's hard to cool off NVK. He's been a mad performer so far, and this has just been a beautiful demonstration of his skill that was always there, just a little forgotten by some of the, I guess, the fair weather fans.
We had a conversation with their head coach a long time ago, Gotcha, and that was actually a question that we asked him. What happened to NVK? And he said, what do you mean what happened to NVK? He was never gone. You can still give him Ash and he'll kill 3 people in 5 seconds. It does not matter. It's just the current role that he's in. If we ever want to switch him back and you ever want to see that demon show face again, it will happen, and it's happening right now. So as we are going to be delving into round number 6, this is going to be the last round before possibly the last role swap of this matchup. So, will Evil Geniuses walk away 4-2, or will Immortals tie things up before the split? As of right now, you can see that aggressive playstyle coming out once again for EG. Last time we didn't see too much of that, but this time around we will, and we're going to claim first lives here as NVK is going to open a very unusual spot that we don't see too often, but Bullet with a refrag onto Canadian, and that's going to be no more hard destruction, but again, it's Coastline. You really don't need it.
Canadian been pretty much a non-factor in this map specifically. He was doing a little bit better on Oregon, but here on Coastline, he hasn't really been needed, and he hasn't been much of a deterrent for Immortals to really take aim. He got that first kill earlier on Sledge, reading that pulse run out, and as from there, I mean, he hasn't really done a whole lot, but the rest of the team has been filling in his place just fine. You can hear that telltale sign of the M249 outside a kitchen window. Ripping that thing open will be Geo's once again. He has an automatic weapon in his hands, and he's looking to slay some more lives. Young carrying the diffuser as the hard breach has now been felled, as Canadian will fall, and you trade out the Doc for Hibana. On any other map, that's a good trade for the defense. On Coastline, that's not exactly the case. You could have used the Hibana pellets to punch open holes into the service wall, as Kitchen's really, I mean, Penn Theater would be the site where hard breach would be best utilized. Yeah, you can still get the job done here with soft destruction from above.
NVK gonna read into Bullet standing behind the Lamborghini desk, but M-King's gonna read into him as he's going to have the counter. Necrox goes for the gunfight, but he's gonna deal less than he takes. This diffuser's gonna try and go down by Young. He's kind of in between a rock and a hard place here. He's gotta win out these gunfights, but who else would you expect, especially on land? PX is gonna go down. 20 seconds left as Necrox will meet his maker. Geo, though, will find yet another, and Geo with 2. It's all left up to Cyber to try and make something happen here for Immortals on this split, but Geo, again and again, here with the M249 to put him up 4-2 at the split.
What did I say? Give him an automatic weapon, and Geo will do things. It's a beautiful resiliency there from Evil Geniuses. They go up 4-2 at the half. Already up 1 map, looking in to make it back to the semifinals for the first time since 2016 at a Pro League final. Let me specify. Yes, I know they've done things beyond the quarters at majors. Pro League final, because I don't want to see the tweets about it.
Do you realize how old that makes me feel?
2016, that was a lifetime ago.
Yeah, well, geez, what year is it?
We'll never know.
Yeah, I mean, really. Anyways, so we are going to be switching things over. Switching gears as Evil Geniuses will be on the defense. We'll see if they try and keep up with the same aggression that we've seen so far. And we've actually seen some really crazy angles. Angles I've never even seen a kill come from. I mean, NVK, what was that inside of couches next to billiards? I mean, you blow open the wall, you're looking down in the courtyard, smoke's just la-di-da dancing through the doorway and gets shot. Oh, excuse me, it was Doc. I apologize for that. Looked like smoke. I apologize. I saw a mask. That's all I know. Anyways, that's besides the fact. NVK, first kill I've seen from that ever. So, I mean, hey, Immortals, though, going to be on the offensive side of things. Now, here's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see them throw literally everyone through a single door ever again. Don't do that. That is a no-no. Don't do it. Again, it's Coastline. There's plenty of ways to try and take these sites. This is a lot more open to whatever you want to do than Oregon is. Let's see some creativity.
I think, honestly, those rounds on Oregon, where it came down to it, is a little bit of desperation and not having an answer, really. They could not find a countermeasure. They could not find a strategy that worked. They were backs against the wall, clock ticking down against them towards midnight, and they had to make a play. So they thought, hey, let's pick up the pace. Let's try and really, really ramp things up on them, because we've seen it work against EG before. We saw Fnatic in Rio absolutely dismantle EG with that kind of sporadic, chaotic play style. Seems like Evil Geniuses, at least in the very brief window we saw those instances happening, have clearly figured out what they need to do in those scenarios when things start to go off the rails. They've done a brilliant job reacting to those scenarios. But now it'll be a blue bar and sunrise bar defense for Evil Geniuses as they begin their defensive half. They only need 3 more rounds to send us home in the quarterfinals day, and they'll be on Championship Sunday. They'll be in the semifinals. They won't quite be to the finals just yet. They'll be in the semifinals at the very least.
Closer and closer they come. They only need 3 rounds right now in order to get to these semis. And
so for Evil Geniuses as well, if they were able to make it to Championship Sunday into the semifinals, they would have to go through all of Latin America, as FaZe would be their next opponent should they be able to surpass Immortals here and grab the necessary 3 rounds of victory. Frag grenade being tossed into the cubby, and bullet will connect onto Necrox. NVK, where is that ADS? None to be found, but it could have been Navi's as he had a Twitch drone inside a site, inside a prep phase. That might have been a massive shock to Necrox, but there goes your smoke. A lot of utility and a clutch performer in the endgame.
Those toxic babes not going to be able to be used anymore since Necrox lays lifeless on the floor of Sunrise Bar, but we're still going to have Young, and we're still going to have an Alda in play. And when you have an Alda, you can do literally whatever you possibly want. That's going to be yet another life taken down, though, as MVK will lose his. Evil Geniuses currently lying in the wait with 3 against 4.
And VK tried to rotate back in behind the Cool Vibes bar. Sorry, the Sunrise bar. M-King will take down Geo as well. So now to 2-man disadvantage. It's Evil Geniuses on their back foot for seemingly the first time in this matchup. Young again in through the soft wall, going for 3 on the round, but can't quite connect. Burning alive at the hands of the asphyxiating bolt and laying prone inside of the cubby will be the member of Immortals who jumps in. Navi's will fall. 3 on the round for Young, trying to go for a 4, but as he turns to his side, PX will take him down with the bearing 9. Immortals able to quickly respond with an attacking round of their own, and that looked like there might have been a barrel on that bearing 9, but there certainly wasn't an optic.
I mean, do you really need an optic? It's the center of your screen. That's all you gotta know. That's all. Good round there for IMT, opening things up with that frag grenade onto Necrox. Yeah, there was definitely supposed to be an ADS intended to be there, but more than likely it did get twitched by the likes of Navi's. And just overall a very good and smart round by IMT. They took their time, they established exactly what they wanted to do, and they executed almost perfectly. Again, kind of a scare there with Young literally mowing everyone down that peeked him, but in the end, PX able to find the frag. That's all they really needed. Now we will be heading upstairs to Hookah, abandoning ship pretty early on here for EG.
Well, instead of going back downstairs, the Sunrise Bar and the Blue Bar, it's going to be Evil Geniuses heading topside to Hookah and Billiard to try and extend their lead and maintain a 2-round advantage in this competition. Got to worry about Immortals running things back here on the attacking side. They have the advantage of being able to be a little more aggressive than on the defensive side, and that was clearly evident on the defense for Immortals. They started to slow down, so Evil Geniuses had to ramp up in response on the attack, and that seems to be what Immortals are going to try and go for here, is they definitely picked up the pace on the attacking side in their first round. Young going to be playing the Alibi, a well-debated operator as far as its utility and usefulness, but nonetheless, a lot of soft destruction, a lot of maneuverability, a 3-speed with a very good gun as far as rate of fire is concerned. And Canadian, talked about him being a little absent, but Cyber will fall The MP5K on the hands of the Mutant only loses 25 HP in the process. And of all members of the attacking squad to take down, you want to take down Cyber, and you want to take down... What?
Where?
Huh? Was he repelled on the window?
I don't even know how that happened. I am flabbergasted right now by what just happened. I don't understand that at all. That doesn't make sense. Logic, geometry, none of it makes sense. It's out the window. Anyways, M-King, rest of Immortals. Going to have to try and pick up the bag here and find something. Not going to have very much site execution utility with the tactical bow off the board. So more than likely, Evil Geniuses is just going to lie in wait and see if Immortals wants to get aggressive. Again, a lot of these LATAM teams, it doesn't matter how many people that they have alive, they'll still be aggressive.
So as my friend Alex mouths at me from across the way over at the analyst desk, he was going for the pixel peek at the bottom of the window with the very bottom portion of that barricade punched open. So, I got a little bit of damage onto Navi's as well, as the Twitch will fall off of the aquarium balcony.
As he showed us a very nice,
he walked over and showed us an
nice
actual diagram of what I then explained 3 seconds earlier. So we're good.
Zeronic, everyone. My gosh. Anyways, that's besides the point. This is round number 8. 4-3 currently in the lead for Evil Geniuses. And if you guys are just joining us, last map was Oregon, which EG won pretty handedly 7-2. But so far this round, after that initial frag by the likes of Canadian onto Cyber, not too much else has really happened. Well, as soon as I say that, Canadian's going to get a second kill of the round. Utility use this time around. This is going to be M-King going down. It's going to be the likes of IQ.
Well, looks like there's still a mute jammer placed in the back of this VIP wall. NVK will claim another victim. Navi's to fall. It's PX and Bullet to work out of a 2v5 as they have 40 seconds to do so. Diffuser in the hands of PX as he needs to push in through VIP, but he's alone right now. The other member on his team is Bullet, inside of VIP, and PX is over by Aquarium. So they're separated at the moment. They're going to have to go for individual plays, and that's kind of what was their downfall on Oregon. We'll see if this will be the difference maker or it'll be another deterring factor for the game. Nonetheless, Evil Geniuses will lock it out nice and early. It's Canadian with 2, NVK with 2, and Young with 1 on the round. Evil Geniuses up 5-3, 2 rounds away from Championship Sunday.
I'm seeing double today. I can tell you that. We had this conversation on the last game that we casted. At a 5-3 scoreline or 5v whatever scoreline, this is the time to take your tactical timeout. You want to take it now. You only have one more mistake on a round that you can make. You can only lose one more round before they're at match point. This is the time to take that tactical timeout. And it seems that's exactly what's going to happen. IMT, tactical timeout, as they're going to try and think this one through before they let EG go at it once again.
So, honestly, backs against the wall. No better time to take a tac timeout than right now. And this will honestly give Evil Geniuses a chance to recuperate as well. Regroup, talk things out, figure out what they want to do as far as defensive sites they want to rotate to. They tried the Blue Bar and Sunrise Bar. Didn't go so hot. They go up to Hookah. It works out pretty well. Do they want to return to Blue Bar? Do they want to head to Kitchen? Do they really want to try their hand with Penn Theater? A lot of questions up in the air, especially as the directory, you've only got to win 2 more rounds as some ear-piercing sound comes flying out through the stadium. We're waiting for the return of Immortals and Evil Geniuses. Kitchen Service appearing to be the locked-in answer for Evil Geniuses as far as objective.
I'm going to assume so because, again, this is a tactical timeout, so it immediately locks in, traditionally speaking. So, reveal phase is going to come out. They can still 6-pick if they want to, but more than likely you guys aren't going to see that. But I can tell you this, Geo is actually going to 6-pick off of the Pulse. He's going to leave it on Castle, but he hasn't locked it in just yet. It'll get locked in for him, so it's going to be a Castle in place of the Pulse for Evil Geniuses. So, we are going to be going to the Kitchen site here, and biggest thing for IMT right now is they need to try and get those opening frags. They have the guy that has the most opening frags inside of LATAM. It's Navi's. He's got 33 opening frags for his team, which is a massive number. So we'll see if he can do it once again. He's going to be on Twitch, which, again, as we talked about earlier, the F2, a fantastic weapon in any gunfight. You don't even really need to click the head. I mean, the rate of fire mixed with the amount of damage each bullet does is just an absolute disaster for anybody on the other end of the barrel.
Well, M-King going to be pulling out the Montaigne, and Navi's Twitch drone again, doing a good job of getting in, getting some intel, taking away a few electronics at a time, and making it away to safety. I haven't really seen Navi's lose his Twitch drone in prep phase at all so far, and it's even done work inside of the objective in the midst of the chaos that is the prep phase early on. Got a lot of kill holes at the base of the blue bar wall as well from courtyard for anyone to be playing from main lobby behind the desk. It's kind of a do or die moment here for Immortals, as you've really got to beware. You don't want to put your back against the wall with no opportunity to make a mistake. This is where the run must begin for Immortals to keep themselves alive. We talked about heading into this season finals as it was going to be some of the craziest games, some of the closest games, yet they've all been 2-0s. And we're on a trajectory for a fourth 2-0 today. Incredibly close maps with a lot of overtime involved, don't get me wrong, but we have a significant lack of map number 3 today. And this could be continuing the trend for the entirety of quarterfinal Saturday.
Immortals now going to be focusing their sights upstairs, as they're going to have to worry about some of these EG players roaming around upstairs in the Penthouse Theater area. But they're going to basically have free reign over all of service entrance with those established lines of sight. Don't really have anything open just yet, but they do have Geo upstairs. Not going to have too many people trying to get aggressive on him, but Geo will get aggressive on the front door as M-King tries to work his way in.
Well, now for NVK in towards the Lamborghini doorway. He spots the Montaigne of M-King, and PX low on HP. You'll have to be wary. Just a couple shots in rapid succession from that Aldo would lay him to waste. It'll instead just rattle off the fully deployed shield of M-King as NVK darts back and forth, and looks like Canadian was looking to get aggressive out towards that VIP balcony, as there was a member of Immortals laying in wait right beside the door. It seemed to be Cyber on the Ash, but Canadian will fall back now instead of taking that aggressive hard set stance as Cyber makes his way into the bathroom upstairs by Penthouse. Canadian rips all the way back into the depths of theater.
We have not seen IMT waste this much time on an offense in practically the entire matchup so far. But this time around, lying in wait quite a bit, not making the aggressive push, which is going to end up in Geo claiming the life of Cyber. No more Ash. PX, quite a bit of damage on him. Not much time to play here for the offense. It's always in the defensive side, especially when it's under a minute. Canadian, though, will take down Navi's. They see the Montaigne outside, but he really can't do too much. That pistol, not good in those long-distance battles. PX not going to win a battle anything inside of that smoke, especially with that low amount of HP.
You'd have to hit the hip fire of a lifetime. A frag grenade going to fall through the floorboards incidentally, and it won't do a whole lot. And NVK will finally take down M-King. The Montaigne to fall. PX on low HP. Bullet trying to send in as the last man alive for Immortals. It's almost match point. There we go. Canadian will wrap it up with a nice little bow. Evil Geniuses match point. Series point. Elimination point for Immortals to work their way out of. It's a 6-3 scoreline on Coastline.
This is something we don't talk about too much about these tactical timeouts. This is something you got to remember. It's not only a tactical timeout for Immortals, it's a tactical timeout for Evil Geniuses. Gotcha gets to talk to his guys. He gets to talk them all the way through it. He goes, hey, Immortals has been trying to counteract our aggressive gameplay that we've once again pushed towards them. Hey, you know what? Why don't we go back to the original plan? Why don't we just step back, let them twist in the wind, waste as much time as you want, because guess what? We're on defense. Time is on our side. That's exactly what they're going to do. It's going to pay out in dividends.
It was nearly a perfect round for Evil Geniuses, but one shy. It's a blue bar, Sunrise bar defense, selected, locked in, and ready to go for Evil Geniuses. They lost this last time around. They defended here, and it all started off with Necrox being naded out after an ADS we imagine was destroyed in prep phase by a Twitch drone. Either that, or a blatant error was made in the middle of prep phase by the Jaeger of NVK last time around. I'm going to assume the former, though. I'm going to assume that Navi's got his Twitch drone in there behind the bar.
I would assume so as well. And as we are on match point, once again, map and match point here. We'll see if EG can finally break the curse of the last almost 3 years. Can they make it out of quarters? We're about to find out. But biggest thing for me right now is that Immortals has not planted at all. The entire match. Not one plant has went down. No real objective control on offense, whereas EG has planted 3 separate times. Granted, that's not a lot over the amount of rounds that they've played, but still shows that they're more or less focused on site and getting that diffuser down.
Well, Once again, it's Immortals trying to relay off of that individual play. The superstar nature of the members of their team clearly focused on being that individual performer and not working together as a team thus far. And it looks like Navi is going to have some more success with that Twitch drone, at least momentarily, as it looked like that was an evil eye that was placed in behind the Sunrise bar that had its bulletproof shroud opened up. Shotgun playing from above. This could be Canadian. It's Geo actually looking down through this pre-made hole. A Claymore just placed underneath as M-King will evade purview, backing off into the depths of office. Bullet, though, will take down Canadian in the meantime, all the way over by Sunrise entrance. It was an attempted run out through the kitchen window by Canadian, trying to put this match to rest, but instead, he'll be the one 6 feet under.
Geo's playing tag with this drone right now. He's finally going to get it inside of Billiards, but as you guys see the run out there, Bullet going to claim the life of Canadian. It appears that IMT is ready to try and take over this double bar. They're going to sledge open the castle, start getting some lines in sight deep into sight. First frag grenade going to be coming out from Bullet. It's going to be allocated behind the bar, not going to hit any marks though. As actually all of Sunrise Bar has basically been abandoned. Necrox is currently playing in the hallway under Cool Vibe stairs. Going to rotate in now that he knows both of the frag grenades are gone by Bullet, and they're going to assume that no one has rotated in. So more than likely a very smart play here by Necrox on that smoke can make a massive play here with that SMG-11.
Holding the top control still without contention is NVK is a bit of a flank now towards. They're actually barricading up the doors. Geo is locking M-King into place inside of office as that CCTV rotate will be cut off by a wooden barricade. Not the biggest impediment towards a rotation, but at the end of the day, it'll still be a sound cue nonetheless, as Geo most likely will try and play inside of Courtyard to defend Blue Bar. Although, heavy stack right now for Immortals inside of the Sunrise entrance. 2 inside, 1 outside the door, and NVK angling in onto a 4th outside the kitchen window. This is a lot of focus and a lot of pressure with not a lot of results to show for it for Immortals as they're stalling out to the utility being deployed by Evil Geniuses.
No tactical babes on hand for Necrox, and no more life as Navi's will claim that. Cyber will follow it up though. NVK gonna go on a rotate, he's gonna claim his life. It's all left up to NVK as he'll find yet another one. 25 seconds, but he's got Diffuser down on the couch, excuse me. Navi's and Cyber, the only 2 left alive for Immortals. They've both shown individual prowess throughout the day, and they're going to have to do so yet again to try and beat out NVK, and Cyber will go on the rotate. He'll claim the life of NVK, and we're going at least 1 more round.
The Blue Bar and Sunrise Bar there for Evil Geniuses, still clearly an issue. The problem being that Evil Geniuses now have the availability to rotate elsewhere. They can go back up to Hookah and Billiard should they choose to, and that's exactly where they will aim to go. Dangerous proposition for Immortals now, as the last time they attacked this site, it did not fare well for them. They were left in a 1v4. So, for this objective now for Evil Geniuses, it's quite simple. Lock it down and replicate what you've done previously. For Immortals here, this is where adaptation needs to come through. Like you said, we haven't seen a lot of push for a plant there. There was actual site control there inside of Sunrise, but the man carrying the diffuser ultimately died on PX. So at this point, you're probably looking for an Aquarium rotation. We haven't seen a lot of Aquarium focus at all in this game, which has been quite surprising to say the least. There's been a lot of Hookah focus, and it hasn't really led to much site control at the end of the day. There's been a bit of VIP push, but as well, hasn't done a lot to stall out rotations, hasn't done a lot to really impede the progress of a defender of stalling. And honestly, it's a little shocking to see that both sides on a Coastline game completely ignoring one of the most crucial pivot points on the entirety of the map.
I mean, as you said, it's a free rotation. There's a hatch there. You can drop down to offices, and you can even jump down to Courtyard by the hallway that's legitimately right next to that room. So, going back a little bit to the last round, I'll say this. Evil Geniuses more or less had that in the bag. All they had to do was just continue to let IMT twist in the wind, and that's not what they did. They showed face a little bit, IMT gets their initial frags and just takes over site. Granted, did not try and get the diffuser down more or less because the diffuser got shot in his face, but still going to be able to claim that round as it did come down to NVK in a 1v2.
So for the round here for Immortals, again, the attack will coalesce outside towards Hookah mainly, and I imagine M-King will try and push his way in underneath as being able to spot out maybe Canadian on his cardiac sensor, or any of the alibi holograms, or the ADSs, or any of the evil eyes for Navis to go and find. going to be invaluable. And the freedom to be able to maneuver downstairs, knowing that Canadian won't be there down to contest. He'll have to have a partner come with him to cover his backside. And Canadian currently over inside of Kitchen will take down that pesky radio that always likes to distract everyone with those sound cues. But you've also got Young and Geo on the far side of the map in towards Penthouse and Theater. So a lot of map control on the top side held right now for Evil Geniuses. Canadian, the lone man downstairs for EG. He's going to run into a multitude of members as now they lose an Evil Eye on site in behind that pool table. Evil Geniuses going to have to contest with the extreme downstairs presence that is being brought by Immortals.
Netcroc's going to take quite a bit of damage upstairs as he was trying to play the corner on Couch, where you traditionally just throw a smoke grenade against the wall, prevent plant pretty easily. Don't even have to show face to do it. But not going to be going too well for him now, especially on such a low amount of HP. But Immortals, we thought they were going to get aggressive downstairs towards Canadian inside of Kitchen, but that's not going to be the case. They're finally going to go for Aquarium this time around. No hookah play, at least for this round. But Netcroc's going to be running low on those Toxic Babes. He actually does still have 2 in his hand, so he just used the initial one. You guys are going to be hearing the telltale signs of those X-Kairos on the Couch wall. Netcroc is going to get aggressive. Is he going to claim any kills? He gets 1, but he gets immediately refragged by the likes of Bullet. Frag grenade still in hand for Bullet as he's checking for a flank, but nothing's going to come of it. Navi's will take NBK off the map for at least this round.
Now Canadian being forced to rotate back up the Cool Vibe stairs. Everyone had to abandon the objective. Geo on a flank now towards the top of Theater stairs and through luggage momentarily. He's going to have 2 bearing down on him, and a drone was spotting out Young, and he nearly evades the death from a frag grenade. Dropped to about 20 HP. Inside of luggage, though, there goes Geo, striking onto PX, and the head will be removed. Immediately traded off now by Navi's on that F2. So it's down to Canadian. It's down to Young to keep this and lock this game out right now, or we're going to be running 1 round away from overtime. Aggressive peek here from Young. Does a lot of damage on the Bullet, the man carrying the diffuser. But Navi's again striking with that F2. Pure dominance on that rate of fire. And another one! That's 4 on the round for Navi's. Immortals staving off elimination once again. They continue to refuse to roll over. We're going to go the distance, at least in regulation, on Coastline. A much closer game in comparison to Oregon.
And Immortals really playing the waiting game this time around. I mean, the flank was successful eventually by Evil Geniuses, but immediately traded out. Navi's lying in wait, playing one of his favorite offensive operators, usually on that Ash, but Twitch is a pretty good supplement for that. So we are going to be going into the last round here of regulation. We are going to have a tactical timeout by the likes of Evil Geniuses. Gotcha. Want to talk to the guys once again. Currently locked in for them on site is going to be Hookah, so more than likely we're going to see some adjustments on their site setup, especially with last time how Immortals took Aquarium instead of Hookah.
Waiting to see what the adjustments will be for Evil Geniuses. We talked about it. It was a 6-3 scoreline. The ability to hold out, the ability to lock out and send themselves to Championship Sunday. They've now surrendered that ability in consecutive rounds as Immortals continue to strike back with force. We're now 1 round away from overtime where everything draws even and all that round advantage you had, all the momentum you had starts to dissipate into the background and not really have much effect on the rest of the game. It all comes down to this round here where it's going to be a complete reset for overtime. It's a 3-round overtime, no infinite overtime. And it looks like Evil Geniuses are going to head to the kitchen. Last time around they went to kitchen. It was a clean sweep nearly. Only losing 1 member on their side. It was a 1v5, and the last remaining member, I believe it was PX or Bullet. I can't remember who. And they were able to get a kill onto Canadian in the dying seconds before being immediately traded off. So for this one here, Immortals, again, going to have to change up the strategy. Last time around, they got stalled out quite magnificently by Evil Geniuses. Roam, will the same thing happen? Will it hold true? Will Immortals be able to adjust and finally look like they have, I guess, a commanding force in this map? It seems like Immortals have been in the back seat for this entire game. They've just been responding. Finally, they've woken up a little bit. They need to wake up a little bit more right now to take control of this game and send it to Clubhouse.
Again, it's do or die right now. Only 1 round away is EG from going to semis. Again, have not been there for a very, very long time. They won it badly, but Immortals wants it badly as well. I mean, you're representing LATAM, one of the best fan bases in all of Rainbow Six Siege, especially the most eccentric, I would say. But after that tactical timeout, having a little bit of a word with their coach. We'll see exactly what they're going to bring to the table. Last time around, Canadian made his demise pretty early on, or excuse me, that was the previous round. Actually, last round on Cool Vibe Stairs, eventually losing that gunfight. But again, Immortals, throughout both of these maps, still have not had a plan down. They've just fragged out every single round. So I expect nothing but the same, to be completely honest with you.
Well, at least they've done a better job of prepping for that site control. Earlier on, it really did look like it was just a frag fest. It looked like Immortals were trying to play Team Deathmatch while Evil Geniuses were trying to play Bomb. And as the rounds developed throughout the maps, it has clearly turned into more of an objective-based game for Immortals, thankfully. You got MVK laying prone right now in behind the Lamborghini desk, and he's going to hit the deck in behind this wooden barricade. Cyber will back off to safety. No one really landing any shots here. It's so many pre-fires that there's going to be brand new holes in the walls here in a moment, but again, no one can land a shot. Now the flashbangs come soaring out, and NVK will be blind, able to vault in behind the desk, that castle barricade, and now Geo will come in support down the theater stairs. They all come filing out now as that castle barricade gets ripped open.
They can waste so much time here if they play this properly. Another one of the stun grenades going to go off, and NVK going to claim the life of M King. Geo going to attack on, and it seems like EG is trying to walk away with it. Bullet, though, will take down NVK with a grenade, as Navi's is all the way in sight, and Navi's going to take down Necrox. This seems to be an absolute blunder by both teams. Trades back and forth. That F2 ringing true right now as PX tries to get the diffuser down, but he's going to abandon ship.
Going for a reattempt on the diffuser now, as Geo needs to rotate as well as Canadian into the main lobby. The plant is successful at the service doorway, and turning the corner in towards Kegs will be Canadian. Turning his focus as he's awaiting Geo. This is a smart play to make sure they can pinch at the exact same time. Navi's on low HP, will take just a few bullets to survive from those SMGs. Actually, honestly, only one bullet will really be all it takes to drop him to the floor, and they can reassess their focus towards Bullet and PX, who have both bailed out towards the surface doorway. PX is actually prone, laying on top of the diffuser. Geo takes down Navi's. They turn again back towards the service door. Geo with 3 on the round, 2 in a row. Frag grenade placed at the diffuser's base, and now you're looking for one to run out the main door and one to run out the service door on top of the diffuser. No time remaining, has to stick this. Geo is all the way outside, holding on the door, almost done, but no. Bullet in the 1v2, able to clutch up 3 on the round for a Bullet. We head to overtime.
Would you have it any other way, Flynn? That's their first plant of the entire day, and they're gonna win the round. Almost a very nice play there by Evil Geniuses, but going to get punished as they do try to run out the main door. Geo trying to stick the defuse, and Canadian going to lose that gunfight. So, overtime for the first time today between these two teams, and we're going to have Evil Geniuses still on the defense. So we'll see if they can continue to try and pick up a couple of rounds here. They did way better on their offensive half. They picked up 4. On the defense, they only picked up 2. So, both of the sides that they won were Hookah and Kitchen. They've currently got Hookah locked in here on the defense. Canadian currently staring down the barrel of a castle, but he's going to 6-pick over to the Echo. A little bit more deterrent for them to plant, which again, they have not done much of.
Yeah, and that round there, again, you have the 5v3 advantage if you're Evil Geniuses. You're ready to lock things up, and then it's a storming of the gulag coming out from Immortals in through that service door. Navi's taking full control of the matches. He's done almost every round now on this run to push overtime. 3 consecutive for Immortals, all in the backs of the F2 of Navi's. For Evil Geniuses, it comes down to this. Are you really going to let this slip between your grasp and send us to Clubhouse? Or are you going to wrap this up now as you've had multitude of chances to do so?
I think the hard thing right now is a lot of Evil Geniuses fans are getting major flashbacks of what tends to happen with this roster and just this name in general. I mean, we've had different iterations. We've had Necrox as a coach. We've had Necrox as a player. We've had BC as a player. We've had BC gone. We've had Geo. We've had an absolute mantra of different EG rosters. But over these last couple years has not been working out for them. Just not able to put the nail in the coffin. It's been so close, but a broken handle on the hammer so far.
So rappelling up towards the aquarium balcony now for Navi's, as he's really been that X factor for Immortals so far. Waiting to see what Immortals will elect to do on this attack and where they'll like to set things up. For Bullet, he also needs to be that supporting cast member for Navi's, as that's really been the tandem to do a lot of the heavy lifting for Immortals thus far in this matchup, not just only on Coastline, but on Oregon as well. For these two to be in play, it's going to be a different story for Immortals as compared to how they were looking on Oregon in the first half of Coastline, where it was kind of hit or miss as to whether who was going to show up, and really it was Cyber alone. For these last 2 minutes now, you're going to lose another Evil Eye inside of Billiards. As this Twitch drone from Navi's, it's not just the F2 on Navi's, as I said before, that was doing so much work. You've got a lot of damage being done with these drones. And now Young is dropped to about 30 HP in an engagement from inside of Hookah. Not sure if that was just from outside the door from Cyber, or maybe someone out on the aquarium balcony took aim in towards him. But nonetheless, your Kaid of Young has now been dropped to about 30. And Evil Geniuses, not a lot of control elsewhere for themselves. They're really focused in on the objective right now, and less for Canadian and Geo on the opposite side by Theater.
I will say, though, Immortals is more or less doing the exact same, just has pure sight presence, nothing really around the map. We did see one person rotating over through luggage. It's going to be the likes of whoever's wearing that camo, because I truly have no idea. I'm going to guess Twitch. And I would be correct. Cool.
So, yeah, Echo Drone from Canadian going to disorient Navi's. Not really sure if they were able to spot out. I imagine they were able to destroy the Yokai drone, as it looks like there's only one remaining over by the VIP hallway. Flashbangs come raining in, and now that's Canadian moving his Echo drone into place. All the flashbangs come soaring out now, but a Toxic Babe and reciprocation coming out from Necrox. The Yokai almost in place to stop a plant, but if he makes his way in behind the bomb, that PX does, then he'll be just out of the purview of that Yokai drone. You've also got NVK laying in wait. There's only 20 seconds left, actually, as the round has been deceptively quick. And now Immortals in a 5v5 have to go for an absolute slaughter inside the objective to facilitate this plan. 10 seconds left, and Cyber pushing his way into Hookah will be the catalyst on that. It's a flurry now for Immortals. Geo strikes right back at the heart of Immortals, though, and now down. It's just Canadian left alive, but he has the Yokais. Can he stop the plant into the overtime? No, he stops it once, but the reattempt on the plant still going down. And Immortals, 4 in a row, put themselves on match point. Will we go to Clubhouse? Or will Evil Geniuses be able to storm back with 2 of their own?
4 rounds in a row for Immortals. And they haven't been able to do that all day. They didn't even get 4 rounds on Oregon. They only got 2. Only got 2 rounds on Oregon. So, IMT finally waking up here. And I mean, that explosive play style really working out for them right now. I mean, just look at the kill feed on this replay. Just blue absolutely everywhere. And honestly, that comes down to laying on the back of Canadian. You used that Yokai charge way too early. You were not at overtime. There was no way to try and stop that plant. At least wait for 1 to tick up, because you do have that brief second where you can't plant again. That was really only your saving grace that you possibly could have had in that round with that Yokai.
Well, now it'll be Evil Geniuses after 7 consecutive rounds on the defense and losing 4 of them in a row. They will now turn towards the attacking side, as we do have a role swap in overtime every round. It's a best of 3 overtime, which means that Immortals, after being on the precipice of being completely eliminated from the Season 9 finals here in Milan, now on the brink of sending us to map number 3 against Evil Geniuses. Complete dismantling, and that late round aggression coming out from Navi's and friends. Been doing a lot of work thus far. We'll go back to Hookah on the defense. It'll be Hookah and Billiards this time for Immortals to defend, and Evil Geniuses to attack. Not bring any hard breachers, in stark contrast to what PX has been bringing, which has been a Hibana basically every round.
Now, once again, Evil Geniuses' best side on this map was the offense by far. They've only picked up 2 defensive rounds, and there has been plenty that have been played so far. So they've played 7 defensive rounds, only winning 2. They've played 6 offensive rounds, winning 4 of them. So percentages, more than likely going to win this offensive round, if statistics are true. NVK gonna start things off right, as Navi's will be the first one to bite the bullet, literally. And that's going to be onto Legion, which, the longer he's alive, the better he is.
Just getting a taste of your own medicine there is Navi's, as it's been the F2 on Twitch that he's been wreaking havoc with on the attacking side of Coastline in this matchup. So NVK serving him back a dish best served cold. Canadian now pushing in through Theater and now through the Theater hatch now into Penthouse as he makes his way towards the 90 hallway. This far side push here establishing a lot of long angles throughout the top floor of the map. But again, Immortals returning to their familiar ways of defending the bottom floor quite well and quite horizontally in the meantime for the objective. And it's a replay of the kill that NVK was able to grab onto Navi's. You can see the drones all coming out now through luggage and through 90 hallway. Evil Geniuses looking to go for a site execute in towards Aquarium, as is pretty typical. And PX will be their first impediment into making it in for a plant.
Just not putting any respect on that center square was Navi's. You always have to be aware when you're rotating through there. It's so easy to hold from up top. You have so many different lines of sight that you can punish from it. People rotating into VIP, people rotating through luggage into Aquarium, which is most of the upstairs and a lot of the areas that you want to try and tend to. But as of right now, EG going to be up on body count as Canadians going to try and have an explosive entry here, but that frag grenade is going to get ADS'd by Cyber.
NVK was downstairs with his Twitch runner. He spotted out Cyber inside of Blue Bar. That Jaeger downstairs looking to play through these kill holes. So NVK looking to contest this, and Cyber not backing off, but through the drone hole. NVK is able to drop Cyber, a cheeky play. And now every member of Evil Geniuses standing pat at 100 HP. Toxic Babes being used just to prolong this round, as if they had their way, Evil Geniuses would have planted by now. Bullet getting prone inside a windowsill will at least drop and trade out Canadian, but the plant going to be coming down very soon from Evil Geniuses as they start to smother the objective. The last remaining Toxic Babe being sent out now from PX, placed right up against the wall. Young going for a rotation with Diffuser towards 90. What's the inclination here? 15 seconds left, and they're going to have to absolutely overload the objective. The asphyxiating bolt comes out, and it's not touching anyone. M-King drops NVK, pings on the corner as Necrox turns and collects PX, vaulting through the rotation. Another one for Necrox at the base of the Cool Vibe stairs. No diffuser in hand. He doesn't have time to reload. He has to go, but Gio's getting the plant down inside of the pink bar, and Necrox with 3 on the round, able to save it for Evil Geniuses. And we're going to go all the way the distance on Coastline.
What a call by Evil Geniuses. The very last second that they could have made that rotation at all. And their diffuser carrier dies. Gio has to pick up the mantle, and they still try and get that diffuser down. Meanwhile, Necrox, oh my God, what was that?
Something we haven't seen all evening from Amar. It seems like Omar has stepped into the stadium this time around, at least in that round, and we're going to go, like I said, the absolute maximum distance on Coastline. 7-7 scoreline. We will finish at an 8-7 regardless. In the next 3 minutes, will we decide with Evil Geniuses winning the best-of-3 series, as all of their counterparts have done so far today, a 2-0 victory, or we, for the first time today, going to map 3 to round out the evening? We'll have to find out. It's kitchen defense. It's Evil Geniuses on the defense. Can they shut down Navi's? They did it on the defense. Because honestly, this attack right now for Immortals, it lives and it dies by Navi's. You shut him down, all the dominoes fall after that, especially with their time control. Their time management has been horrendous lately on the side of Immortals. Find Navi's, execute him violently.
Execute him violently.
Execute him violently. And honestly, wait for Immortals to wait it out and get prepared for a bloody onslaught coming through that service door, which will most likely be the case again. The last time they defended this site, they had a 5v3 advantage. What does Navi's do? Bursts into the service door and grabs 2 of his own to level man count.
EG is reading into this heavily, though. If you guys look up at the top of your screen, you know that orange bar there that tells you all those operators? Let me tell you this. Smoke, Maestro, Mute, Echo, and Legion. That right there tells a tale of disaster for anyone that is trying to rush into a site. Specifically, that the fact that they are taking away information from the offense, and IMT has been playing heavily on that. They know where people are sitting, usually, and they're able to frag out because of it. Taking that information away is Canadian. We'll see if it pays out this time around. Last couple of times on Mute, he's died very early on. That's another tale of the tape. You don't want to see Canadian get fragged out initially. For Immortals, you want to see them lean back on that aggressive playstyle. If they get this opening frag, this could be the map.
Well, A lot of pressure in towards the Lamborghini doorway right now, and this is where NVK has been a focal point on the Maestro, taking aim at anyone who tries to tread past him outside of the doorway, and he'll be doing it again. The drone's just missing him as he ducks back underneath the lip of this desk, taking aim, can't find the finishing blow, but NVK will find M King. And there goes your Jackal, there go your smokes, but we've seen it before, the site execute on this objective doesn't always require the smoke, it just requires Navi's bursting through the breach with an F2.
Yeah, it just requires a lot of blood and lead. And that seems like what Immortals is going to have to try and weigh on. Cyber staring down the window. He wants it, but more than likely there's a goo mine lying in wait that Young has placed at the bottom of that window. As they spin in the wind, Immortals has to try and find an answer. They have so much information now after that Twitch drone comes in, but Navi's on the other side of things. Bullet's going to try and open the door. Netcrocs will be the frag. No more toxic babes, as one of those breaching charges or breaching explosives will go off by the hands of Cyber. NVK is still locked in front desk.
Waiting to peek out and just narrowly avoiding another member. Canadian up top inside of VIP, but hearing this will be the member of Immortals. I believe it's not PX, sorry, it's Cyber outside of the kitchen window, spraying skyward with that R4. Triggering a Legion Mine now will be Navi as it pushes into Hookah, but there goes Geo on the MP5, silenced, takes down Bullet. There goes your Sledge. Now commanding lead once again for Evil Geniuses. They don't have any smoke to stall out that rapid ingress through the service door, but Navi's making his way silently. You can see all of Immortals stacking towards the kitchen window. PX going for a full rotation to Sunrise with the diffuser, as Canadian will make his way towards the Cool Vibe stairs in an attempt to go for a flank. PX is now relocated to the kitchen window. Everybody's gonna have to send it in, and Navi's through the kitchen door while two vault the kitchen window. The Legion Mine doesn't get deployed properly, and they both make it in on the vault. Geo should still have an Echo drone remaining, and there goes Cyber. Navi's on the trade onto Canadian. Behind the deployable, the man with the diffuser is down. There's 1 second left. Navi's in a 1v3. Evil Geniuses to the semifinals against FaZe. North America has a representative on Championship Sunday in Season 9.
It's been a long time coming for this roster. We've seen it happen again and again and again. It's this time that they will finally make it to Championship Sunday. It's good to have you back, boys.
Good to see as a North American representative that North America does not go home on the first day yet. Again, they gave us a scare, but Evil Genius is able to close out as the same fashion as all their counterparts today, a 2-0 victory. 8-7 requires going the distance again on Coastline, so it's just the Oregon games so far that have been ridiculously one-sided. Everything else has gone the distance. Interesting note, maybe your team should stop playing Oregon if the team losing it, but if you're winning those Oregon games, you're having a blast.
Yeah, I honestly feel like that's just something for you, because casters just don't like Oregon. It's just not nearly as fun as maps like this, where we go max overtime. That's way more fun. That's way more fun for you guys at home. It's way more fun for us. And, I mean, an absolute show here between IMT and EG. I mean, give a round of applause for Immortals. They really showed what LATAM has to offer.
It was a very, very close game on Coastline, especially, like I said, heading into this map. A map that Latin America does not play often. They avoid it like the plague. This is not a map that is regionally popular versus Evil Geniuses, who play this map the most. This is the map they've played the most in the last 6 months. And it comes down to the bitter end. An 8-7 victory on Coastline, a 7-2 victory for Evil Geniuses as well on Oregon. Immortals will go home, but Latin America will still have representation in the semifinals.
We'll say the best thing about this is now everyone has a representative on Championship Sunday. I'm sorry, LATAM, I truly am. Immortals look so very good on Coastline. I thought they had it in the bag, but it ended up jumping out, and EG's finally going to make it out of quarters.
It's been a long time coming, and you know, as you said a couple times there, it kind of felt like maybe this is the EG of old coming back. It got nervous, it got nerve-wracking. It was a beautiful game nonetheless. That's gonna wrap it up for quarterfinal Saturday. To wrap things up with an interview on stage is Matt with Amar. See you later.
Starks Flynn, thank you very much. Immortals, thank you very much. But it is Evil Geniuses On the Sunday, you'll have to play again. And I think your fans will be so pleased, obviously, to have you there. You worked hard for that win. You make your fans work hard for wins as well. Oh my God, Evil Geniuses. You take us to the wire. We all pretty much thought that was going to 3. But Necros, you're going to be playing tomorrow in the semifinals. Feels good? You got that energy about you of like, can't quite stand still.
I'm pretty pumped up. We haven't made it out of quarterfinals in a real long time, since Sao Paulo, I believe, which was like year 1 or year 2, season 1.
Yeah, year two, season 3. Yeah, so well over a year ago, like 18 months ago.
Yeah, it's been a while, and we're really happy to break the curse, I suppose. Yeah.
I guess it has felt a little bit like a curse. We talked about it, I remember chatting with Canadian in those kind of terms as well. Let's talk a little bit about roles on the team. Things have changed a bit. Start of the season, 6 months ago now. Young was doing sort of Monty plays and getting intel that way. It feels like that role has actually become a little bit more Canadians. Whereas the Canadian with the woo that we used to see, that does seem to be a little bit more like Young on the team kind of lifting everybody up. What's going on?
So the primary reason for our role changes is literally to change things up. So usually when we get comfortable within our roles, we start to get into a slump because we're sort of doing the same things over and over and over. It's almost refreshing to put people in different roles. I am also in a different role. Currently I'm our entry fragger, and I don't believe I've played our entry fragger in a real long time. But yeah, that's the main reason.
I guess people have always talked about EG needing to make changes. You went coach, you came back in again. We've talked about that before at other games and other finals. The easy thing for people to say outside of, these stages watching is, roster changes. What you guys are doing are role changes, and it seems to be coming together.
Yeah, in terms of longevity, you need to be able to play with a team for a long time, right? To build that connection with players. Because otherwise, if you constantly make role changes, you're not going to have that connection, and it's going to be a little inconsistent. We have made role changes in the past, just not nearly as much as other NA teams. The main reason is to build that connection.
And one more question for you. It feels, and it's slightly difficult to explain, but it feels like a slightly different EG. Like chatting to you guys earlier on today, and a big long day we've had, feels slightly different, feels slightly, should we say calmer, slightly more, still confident, but not maybe kind of that over-the-top confidence, outward confidence that we used to have.
Am I allowed to cuss?
I'd rather you didn't, even if it is basically midnight.
We're just tired of fucking losing.
There you go. I understand where you're coming from. Necrox and EG, you heard it. You know how they feel. We'll see some more of them tomorrow because Evil Geniuses are back in the semifinals.